Hello, welcome to the Honest Wargamer original react show. It's the crew back once again like the Renegade Masters. Joined by Nick, Tom and John. Hey Nick, how you doing?
What up?
Yeah, it's nice to see you. We're also joined by Tom.
I have just woken up, so I have the most energy.
Perfect. And we're also joined by John. Hey John, how are you?
I'm all right, yeah. Not too bad. Got lots of energy because I have tons of caffeine.
Oh, well, I'm excited about today, mainly because you all, in my opinion, represent a variety of different streamers. Obviously, I look like the most, like a check shirt, a beard, a cap. I could be any streamer ever. John looks like he might be doing some sort of like political show. I'm not really certain where he's like, he doesn't say he hates women, but maybe.
He looks like he's actually had makeup put on him, ready for coming on today. Like, his complexion is very smooth.
It's called washing.
Okay.
It's a weird thing, right?
Nick
started doing it recently.
Nick looks like the sensible podcast that you listen to that makes loads of sense. And you're like, yeah. And then Tom looks like you're going to go on a real deep journey into whatever Ram Ranch is.
Tom looks like
Tom just
a
puts
Russian
no effort
hacker.
into anything he does. Yeah. He just
Tom
roll
does
out
look-
of bed. I remember a few years ago where a certain streamer whose name I can't mention on the platform because his band just streamed himself sleeping and just got donos like constantly while he was sleeping. I'm just like, yeah, I'm that kind of effort streamer.
The truth is, you've just been to your training session at Cobra Kai. That's why.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Yeah.
It looks like
It's
you
from my
did
training
nothing.
session in Gillinor is where I've been, mate. To be honest.
So very much looking forward to today. Today's obviously the reveal show. Now, predominantly everyone in this show who's on the show is 40k focused, but not always. Like all of you dabble in Age of Sigmar, and it's an Age of Sigmar exclusive show. So we'll talk more about what we expect from it later. But before we do that, I'm going to ask you all how you've been. Nick, what's going on? Catch me up. Where you at? What's going on? You doing any painting?
Since last Thursday? I've not. I made some Poxwalker bases. That was the last bit of hobby I did yesterday. I made some Poxwalker bases because we've talked about on the show before that we don't want to paint Poxwalkers because they just seem like a chore to make. So, but I feel like I need at least 20 for my Death Guard list. So I've got 10 coming more in the post. I've got 10 already. So that's my next Death Guard thing. So I've almost, like I said on Thursday, I've pretty much finished all my Death Guard stuff now. I've only got one Plague Burst Crawler to finish, and then I'm done. And then I'm really going to miss painting them because I've enjoyed painting them so much.
Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah,
I have some news. We've got a little fan of the show with me today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hey.
Oh, I thought you were going to get a leak out, but that works. Thanks, Nick. It's a good start to the show. You're not a big fan, just a little fan.
No, just a little fan.
Yeah,
Proportionally scaled fan.
Yeah, about the size of my face. That's it.
Perfect then.
Perfect. I want to know what your hopes are for this stream later, but we'll get to that later. I want to say hello to everyone in the chat. Big shout out to Jack Baker, Sir Bradley, loads of love. Jog PLC. Tom, you might need to adjust your camera settings or go outside once in a while.
They're calling me really white, which is, I mean, I'm being bullied for self-isolating. I mean, sorry, next time I'll go outside and spread my COVID to the world. And so you can see some slightly more tanned skin in Yorkshire.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's no need for that, is there? That's pretty rough.
I don't mind. I mean, to get to fire back, it's fine. Also, I do have some certain coloured lights all around me, which doesn't help.
Exactly. Helgamar, big love to you. Thanks for tuning in. Game Touch Up Intern says, who's hyped for Dispossessed but with different hats? Don't let anyone else hear you say that. Dr. Numian, hey guys, can't wait to see the new Blood Knights. Me either. Hey, Frederick. Bonnie and Manchild, if Tom walks outside, someone's going to freak out. The White Walkers are coming.
True. I also die in like 2 episodes.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. John, what have you been up to and how have you been?
Yeah, I've been all right. I've been busy as a long time Dark Angels bike player. I've been painting lots of bikes. I've never had an interest in playing with my bikes, but suddenly I do.
What is it about the
narrative interest in bikers?
Yeah.
Suddenly
Well, it
kicked
was
your
one of those
hobby into
things.
gear.
Now they're a little bit more playable. I've suddenly gone, well, actually, I've got these 5 bikes. That's not enough. I need to double down. So I've now got 12 on the shelf that I'm painting up, which is fun.
When you having a complaint about Black Knights the other day?
I have 6 Black Knights on the paint desk as well.
Yeah, right, there we are.
Wait, so wait, hold on, let me get this right. This isn't Drukhari bikes, this is Deathwing, this is Dark Angels Knights.
Although I do have some Drukhari bikes, because I've been buying them whilst they're cheap. I bought 7 bikes off the internet quite cheap. Because they're going to be alright, right?
Did you buy them after they got increased back from 10 points to their actual points cost?
Yes.
There you go. Yeah, that's good stonks.
So you traded on the stonks. Nice.
So I now have 10 of those for my Drukhari. So that'll be interesting. So we'll see.
Okay. So what is it about bikes particularly that attracts you to them? Like, I can't imagine that there's a reason, but let's just try and work it out. Huh?
Mobility.
The narrative.
No, the mobility.
The mobility.
Not narrative, Rob. You're the narrative gamer here.
Scribbo's realised that if you can afford to move badly, if you could just move a lot.
Exactly.
So can I bring something up that's a little adjacent now, really quickly? Because I was walking yesterday to go get myself coffee at what I would consider to be human mobility level, which is me walking, and I saw someone on a mobility scooter, right? And they were fucking going like the wind. And
they love it. Yeah.
Why isn't it called the extra mobility scooter? Like, because it's way above regular mobility. It's like fast.
Have you seen them driving down the road thinking of their hot speed?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Rather than like on the pavement. No, it's not. It's really fucking irritating. Like, I don't want to run over a small person in a mobility scooter just because they're on a blind corner on a road because they think they're a car.
I love it. I think it's great. Like, right. I'm just saying, Nick, you work in this field.
I think we should. Well, we should just say that people with mobility scooters just have the biker keyword rather than sell it like that. Like, oh, do you want the biker keyword on your war scroll?
How does that interact with?
You get 12-inch move that way. Oh yeah, never thought about that. Never thought of it that way. That'd be pretty sweet.
They go so fast. It's wild. It's core or not core.
Do they get a jink?
Nah. No.
Depends what chapter they decide to go with.
Don't we need to have a fly keyword to have the jink rule?
No.
All right. Yeah. Sorry. That's
just Ravenwing. It's just Ravenwing now, man.
I don't think they're Ravenwing.
Really easy.
So Tom, how have you been?
So since I last saw you, Rob, I have learned all about the Napoleonic Wars. I have painted another
diorama.
Yeah. I have maxed my invention stat on RuneScape, and now I have one more left.
that's pretty impressive. That's a lot you've got into. What was your favourite bit about the Napoleonic Wars?
None of it. I'm trying to work out why Napoleon was so highly rated when he keeps blundering.
He just had OP cannons, didn't he?
Yeah. Nah.
He had it AP2 damage 3.
He liked
black damage cannons.
That was about it.
He made the mistake of going to Russia. That seems to always be a
I need
great
to
mistake.
Do more research because I'm pretty certain I'm wrong about why about him, because obviously he's got to be highly rated for something. But at the same time, I just watched our docu-series and it felt like he just kept blundering, and I'm just like, okay, dude, fine.
Well, let's be fair to the French. They don't have like a lot to like write home about, like when it comes to military tactical genius. No offense to anyone who's watching who's French, like, but
not got the best reputation, have they?
Yeah, they should do what us English have done, where you just invade a country that has no ability to defend itself and then take its resources for
that's a free W. Yeah,
it's a free win.
It's like going to an ITC event in the middle of a pandemic.
Yeah, apparently Napoleon was a skilled commander. It's British propaganda. There we go. Really? Think about that, Tom. Think about your sources.
I mean, the source wasn't British; it was American. So
even worse then. That's third hand.
I literally just watched one docu-series. That doesn't mean that, like, I'm not going to say that I...
The main problem is the American education system.
I got from this.
They've got the highest percentage of people in the world who believe in angels. So, come on. Like, they've got some education issues, ultimately.
Okay, Rob, thanks for that, mate.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Right, I am not French, but they have the highest win rate of any nation ever. Is that true? Does anyone know the data?
It depends how you define it. Like, I think I saw a comment from someone saying Napoleon won 60 battles, but I have no idea how. Fought in 60 battles and won 53, but I'm not sure how he's defining that. So I'd have to actually check it out myself. But
because I think Waterloo should count as 4.
Okay.
I guess battles back in the day were a lot like Russian roulette. Ultimately,
yeah. It depends how you define the skill.
You got to have that 100% win rate, or it's going really downhill for you. Ultimately.
Yeah. You want a kill streak, or you're out of the game.
Exactly. Right. So good. I'm glad you're all okay. So the Games Workshop reveal stream today. Oh, lot to unpack. We've been doing this for almost a year as the OGs. Grimslack, good morning. CV Jog.
At this by now.
Yeah. We're pretty pro at this. So obviously the kind of big questions here are let's talk about the structure of it before we get any further. Do we think we're going to see 2 dudes in a bedroom as per, or do you think we're going to see an upgrade?
I think we're going to see 5 dudes in the bedroom today. Oh, sorry, 6 dudes in the bedroom today, Rob.
You think?
That's what we're going to watch.
Yeah, okay. Nick, what are your thoughts?
I think, we'll definitely see a lot of bedrooms. We might see an office with a whiteboard in the background with some red herrings / spoilers in there.
I don't know if we'll see Pete Foley, though, because AOS...
He's 40k, isn't he? So
was he only 40k? I'm sure doesn't he manage both?
He manages both.
Oh.
But he only appears on the 40k streams, right?
He's the
I've never seen
boss
him
of
on
it
an
all.
AOS stream.
We'll see the classic. Yeah.
I'm going to make a bold statement here that I don't think he even really likes 40k. Like, that's my statement. Reason I say is I played him at an Age of Sigmar event, and I've seen him play at Age of Sigmar events. But outside of work for the studio, I don't think in his personal time I've ever seen him go to a 40k event. Now that could be wrong, but it's a bit like how everyone's like got a main system, and you kind of like know the other system a bit. Like, I reckon he heart fasts his 40k. He's like, yeah, whatever, you guys are in charge, that's fine. Yeah,
because I'm sure if they're staff members involved in that sort of like that level of the company, they probably have to pay attention to both. It's probably, I don't know if it's like probably in their contract, but it's definitely probably, I imagine, frowned upon.
Especially if it's your job.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go for yes.
But I imagine that's probably why people then might not be so keen to spend their spare time playing the game. If they've got the choice, they'll pick the one they enjoy more, right?
Yeah, that's my point.
So
I think we might see a Pete Foley introduction. So that'll be fun. We get to see a bit of that. So you think we're going to see more than just our 2 regular Adam and Eddies?
Oh, I thought I was just talking about our stream, but that's okay.
Oh.
That's fine. Yeah, don't worry about it.
Oh, I get it. Your joke. I get your joke now.
There's 6 people then as a result, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think we're only going to see those 2?
We have done for the last 2, right? Oh, by the way, I did check my emails, and I didn't receive any emails about any miniatures apart from MC Grinder from people who just do nothing and some books. But apart from that,
Corrupt FM.
Nothing. Corrupt FM, indeed. I didn't see anything in there about any of the releases. So there's no releases, or they actually hid it from the emails they sent out today with this time, which is impressive because they don't normally manage that.
Well, there's actually there's a lot. Damn, Rob, that took you long. It did take me long. I know. I just didn't get it first time around.
Yeah, it's because it was shit. That's fine.
There's a whole bunch of topics I want to hit. What do we expect to see from the reveal? How do we think we're going to see in spinning lights? Do we think we're going to see in narrative? But there are some other topics to bring up, and specifically, Born Again Manchild has brought it up, and I think it's a valuable conversation to have about data. That's right. I'm going to talk about data.
You have some data from this morning, Rob.
Pardon me?
Do you have some data from this morning, mate?
I do. Sharks are completely pointed fine, and we should get some more.
Are they more pointed fine than the eels?
Yes. The whole book is just flawlessly done, like perfection, pitched perfectly.
There's nothing wrong here, boys.
Yeah.
Everything else.
And as a narrative shark player, I'm glad that it's a mid 3-2.
Just in time for the lead developer to pick it up.
Yeah.
So you don't want to jump the shark then, Rob?
Suspiciously timed.
Boom.
It's never suspiciously timed. Right, so Games Workshop yesterday, this is one for everyone in the chat, have changed our account. So if you have bought anything from their web store or Forge World, or if you want to sign into their app for the 40k app, this isn't yet Age of Sigmar, but I assume, oh my god, I've just realised they might announce a brand new fucking Age of Sigmar app today, and I would literally cry.
That'd be funny. That'd be so funny.
Anyway, in order to use any of those now, you have to use your My Warhammer account.
My Warhammer, okay.
My Warhammer account. So it's a bit like a Blizzard account.
Your Warhammer account.
No, you don't all sign into my Warhammer account. No. Sorry, I
so yours.
Okay.
No.
We all sign into Rob's Warhammer account. Rob's going to post.
That's how we do it. We've all got the books in one account. Fantastic.
I might do a public one, and everyone can. I bet they have no way that they have decided that there's any blockers.
Someone
needs
to try that, and no one's thought about it yet. We definitely need to give that a go.
I've tried it, Tom.
Did it work?
Did it work?
5
does
phones
work.
at the moment.
What, you can pool my Warhammer account? That's amazing.
Put it on your phone, on your tablet, your friend's tablet, your other friend's tablet,
your mum's tablet, the Queen's tablet.
Here you go, Dad. Have these books you didn't want.
Charge rent of £1 for access to your My Warhammer account. And then you just give it out to everybody. It's a moneymaker.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Spread out to 20,000 people. You're making £20,000 a month just off your My Warhammer account.
I'm in. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Best timeshare available.
It's not like they can delete anything, right? Like you put the code in on.
My Warhammer hardly even knew her. Can I just thank Bradley in the chat for donating £10 to the printer fund here. I am currently painting up this piece of terrain, which is mighty big, which is a 3D printed piece of terrain for here at the TSM Arena. Yeah, it's huge.
That's pretty chunky.
Yeah, it's pretty chunky. So I'm printing this up right now, is what I'm doing. I'm painting this up, which is a printed piece of terrain, which is kind of the future. David Adams, thanks for subscribing. Big love to you. An only Warhammer account is also another good thing. So that's what the money, if anyone donates any money today, that's what it goes to buy plastic to turn into terrain. So you could imagine it's like a mine. You can fuel a mine or a factory to build.
So this is entirely an ethical mine. Like it's just Rob walked away in the T-Sports arena. It's printing stuff. Yeah. It's great.
I can't wait to print the 40k terrain. It can not only can it hide a Cygor behind it, you could hide a Cygor inside it. Is how big it is. So I know that's pretty big. Right. So thank you to David Adams for subscribing. The My Warhammer account. Only Warhammers, My Warhammer, not my Warhammer account, although maybe later we're going to do an Honest Wargamer Warhammer account and we all sign in. Perfect. Is a very much like a Riot account, yeah, or a Blizzard account where not yet, I assume, but I assume their plan is to use it to like open up all these other things. Like they keep doing a lot of like third-party stuff, if that makes sense. You know, like games. And I imagine that they maybe eventually will integrate with that. That could be a thing. Who knows? But most importantly, what it does...
Circuit?
What?
And a tournament circuit that they might have not bought or bought?
Yeah, tournament circuit, which they may or may not have bought. Winky face, the ITC. So... It could be anything, but we don't know what. But most importantly, they're tracking our data. So how do we feel about that?
Everyone's already tracking our data.
Exactly. So do we care? Nick, what are your feelings?
Well, obviously, most big corporations are always tracking your data, and they're most of the time using it for evil schemes. Okay, I imagine Games Workshop will be also using it for evil schemes. So we should... just try and mess with them as much as possible, really. So, like, things like on Twitter, sometimes you see like a sponsored tweet or an advert or something like that. If there's an advert on Twitter that I don't like, I don't want to see on my timeline, I always report it. But I always report it for ridiculous reasons. Like it might be an advert for like soap or whatever. I don't know, just a random example. And I'll report it for sexual explicit content. So if we do those kinds of things as much as possible to the Games Workshop data that they're getting.
It's pretty hot, to be honest. So.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. I think, so one of the things I've been doing for several years, because I think it's quite important, is I routinely will go onto the web store and I'll put 20 mech guns into my basket.
Oh, into your basket, right? Yeah.
And then like I go all the way through to like just before click buy, and then I kind of stop the process, then I delete it and I start again, just so that like they think someone at some point is going to buy 20 mech guns like in one load, and the data supports that there's lots of people viewing it and maybe not taking it, hoping that when the new Orc book comes out, that they reduce the points or maybe even make them better.
Reduce the points, please don't. No. Shit.
So related to this, Rob, they're doing as a way of enticing people to do the whole My Warhammer linkage. They're doing so that you can have 300 quid's worth of your basket in Forge World or their store. If you have that in there by the 25th and that stuff's in there, they'll put you in basically a raffle to win it. You could just have some right fun, like, right, this is 300 quid of utter shite, and they'll think everyone wants it.
Right. Can I just talk about this for a second? Because I don't want to sound like I'm ungrateful or something, or I'm like being a choosing beggar or something. Okay. But how do we feel about the multi-billion-dollar company massively plugging this £1,500 giveaway?
Hilarious, because they're basically like a child's. They've got the marketing like nuance of like Sandra who owns an ice cream shop down the road. It's my favorite bit. Like, it's my favorite bit about them. It's not a negative. It's hilarious. Like,
I'm expecting us to get little cards like loyalty stamps for every £10 you spend, because it's that kind of like grassroots coffee shop kind of marketing, isn't it?
They used to do that. They used to do that back in the day.
Skulls.
Skulls. Yeah, the skulls.
Literally, Valrak does bigger giveaways than Games Workshop does at this point.
To be fair, though, Games Workshop doesn't have an OnlyFans to direct them towards, so...
I don't think Valrak does either, but that's beside the point.
And he does.
Oh, no.
Just they're lying in a bath of just yellow contrast paint or whatever the heck he paints everything in.
Love it. It's a yellow glaze, mate. Mate, I need to learn how to do yellows properly, man. Like, it feels like such a hard colour to paint. I don't get it.
One of my favourite colours to paint. Like, I actually, whenever I start painting, I accidentally always orientate myself towards orange and yellow. All the time.
Tutorial. Yeah. You need to do some painting.
I don't know what that's about. I just want to catch up with everyone in the chat. Colonel Cabbage made a funny joke. Games Workshop, do you have a My Warhammer account? Player, no, I have a Rob's Warhammer account. Which I really liked. Warhammer Nerd, thank you for subscribing. And he's very excited about Gravelords.
Ooh, yeah.
I think that's good. And then also he says, quick, everyone, fill that cat. Do you know what we should do? We 100% should organise raids on the Games Workshop store, the web store, where
we just make loads of bot accounts too.
Like 100 of us.
Baskets.
I'm just like 100 of us. We just pick a unit and we all just go stick it in our basket for like.
How many stompers can you get in for 300 quid?
So, did you see Val on Facebook, by the way?
No.
Like, you and Hammer did that article about underrated units. They wrote the custom Stomper, and Val's out there going, yes, I pioneered the custom Stomper. I'm like, okay, brother. Okay, brother.
I don't think anyone else was trying.
I couldn't take the article seriously.
Didn't he start playing that like a month after we were talking about how we were all going to run Stompers with Visions in the Smoke?
Wait,
it was months later. I'm sure, like as soon as the Psychic Awakening came out with that spell, we were like, "Oh my god, the Stomper is amazing! This is the best."
Oh yeah, because we were already memeing it because you can't say Stomper in the Games Workshop reveal stream.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
Yeah. My follow-up. So
he's the only one playing the custom Stomper, which is the inferior version to the actual Stomper.
And the article showed a picture of just a normal Stomper, so I couldn't take it seriously. They just weren't trying hard enough.
Yeah, they can't appreciate the difference between a custom Stomper and a Stomper. So I mean, I've lost all credibility now.
Agreed.
Sorry, Hammer.
It's all right, man. No longer like the blog.
We like the blog.
I don't read them. I just read the headlines.
Oh no, he's one of those people.
Are you reading Goonhammer Unread again? It's just the headlines.
Yeah, exactly.
He's one of those people who was sharing that photoshopped image of that Tory with the stupid Sisters of Battle on the shelf.
No, so my favourite. Can I talk about my favourite current headline in all gaming at the moment? Came out yesterday. It was, "Why is Chun-Li missing from the new Mortal Kombat trailer?"
Yeah.
I'll give
this
you all
took
the
me a minute
on
as
that.
well.
Yeah,
it was that whole.
I haven't seen the trailer, so I don't know.
Chun-Li's from Street Fighter. It was the main problem.
Aware, but
yeah. Anyway, I like that title. That got some.
Yeah,
some good
I thought we were going to see Heihachi in there as well, but didn't see him.
I want to do that today when we see the release. When we see the Gravelords releases. Yeah, I want to be like, where are the Drukhari in this release? It is awful. Yeah.
Yeah. Where are my Primaris lieutenants?
So my Warhammer account, no one's particularly bothered about my Warhammer account. Because you need to use it for the 40k app. Obviously, none of us use the 40k app. And then, of course, you're probably going to need to use it for the Age of Sigmar app when they redo it, which will be a disaster. Calling it now. I wish there was some sort of... Honestly, if you could bet, I would take anything I owned to there. Like, if someone's like, taking bets... I don't know if there are people who take bets on anything, but I'd put my money on that bet.
And it kicks you out of the apps and forces you to log in with it all linked up. It won't let you log into the app and do anything until you've done it.
So Randy's saying in the chat, and also big love to Randy, you can't log into your old Games Workshop account. So do you have to...
Really?
What? So they've deleted old Warhammer, your old Games Workshop account. You now have to make a new one.
What if you had like a virtual voucher on there?
So what it does is it links, if it's the same email address, it just links them, so your history's there. Because I've done it to see what it did, and so it's got all my purchase history of Forge World and like the one thing I bought of bases from Games Workshop, because it's the only thing I ever bought from them.
Okay, so just merged. All right. Well, that's interesting. Interesting, at least. As someone who truly doesn't give a shit, that's important. Maybe one of the things it might help with is scalping. Could it help with that in any way? I guess you could just make one for free. I guess it doesn't matter, right? Yeah.
Because if people are serious about scalping, they're just going to create multiple accounts, aren't they, and just do it that way, right? With multiple different email addresses.
Yeah,
true. True. All right. Okay. All right. Fair enough. So other things. If you guys have just joined us, maybe it's too early to go through this because it's like an hour left, and I don't know how many people are tuning in right now. I want to give the history of the reveal shows up till this point because that really informs some of the memes, the stompers. I think one of the main things I'd like to focus on today is if people are watching both this and obviously the Games Workshop stream, is I would like to ask them for whenever they release something, just be like, there's no data for that. That's our new joke.
Yeah, how do we know it's going to be good? We can't actually ever test it. Yeah. That kind of stuff.
But one of the things that we do know that we're going to be seeing is obviously the Lumineth Realm-lords. What yours, Nick? I'm going to go to you first. What's your current take on the Hey Man Dollies? You're the place to be. What is your current take on the Lumineth Realm-lords stuff you've seen so far?
The first wave.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan. I kind of liked the old High Elves, but I was never really attracted to them as a theme, as an army, because they were just a bit too, fancy. And obviously the new Lumineth are kind of similar aesthetic to that. And I think they look kind of cool, but I think a lot of the hero models that I've seen, they've gone for me personally, they've gone way too down the route of let's do fancy miniatures that are like floating in midair with a toe touching a rock that is at an angle attached to the base, and then there's like the bats in the hair vampire girl. I think it's a bit too, they're kind of like they're showing off about how fancy they can do these models, where I don't necessarily think that makes a good model just because it's like in this fancy pose with like stuff like there's a Lumineth character where he's like meditating on piles of rocks. Well, it's kind of cool as like an art piece, but I don't necessarily think it's that great as a miniature.
That's a really good point, actually. Can I just thank Hawkeye in the chat for donating 500 bits to the show? And for everyone, that's great. Thank you so much. We have got some data on that, and we like it. We like the bits.
Yes.
That's the data. Nick, I agree with you. Lou Diamonds is saying in the chat, why are elves always jumping off broken masonry? What the fuck? Just stay on the ground.
Not just elves, it's all the 40k characters as well, for some reason.
Yeah.
Not entirely sure why. It's very weird.
Yeah, they're always jumping off something.
Yeah, I feel like there is a place for that, but it has to be like very specific, right? So
have you ever stood on a rock and tried to jump off of it? It's not as exciting as it seems.
No,
you get yourself up on this big boulder, you think, oh, this is cool, I'm going to jump, and someone can take a photo, and you just literally just on the floor, and your knees start hurting. It's all trouble.
Yeah, well, that model Nikos is talking about is great. Its only connection point to the rock is actually a tree on its cape. Brilliant. Oh. Okay. Brilliant. So I would say that some of their models that they're making at the minute, so obviously Games Workshop design department know that they're up against the 3D print world at this stage. Like, they know that they're against it. So I feel like some of the stuff that we've seen, Catacross, for example, and Fatacross, who is our new guy, Glottos or Scolion, who is our Slanesh character. I feel like those pieces are literally a look at me, we can do something no one else can do sort of a design. Little note that's
like
not true.
I do feel like they figured out that they can do it, and they're like, oh, this is cool, and then they've just kind of like they're using it a bit too much. I personally feel anyway.
I think so. I agree with you absolutely. I'm very excited, because there's the Lumineth stuff, and then we'll get to the Gravelords. We'll start on the Lumineth now. John, the stuff we've seen so far of the Lumineth stuff, what do you think? Twitch chat, same for you as well.
I appreciate the kind of the artistic kind of integrity to what they do. That it looks all really fancy and it's lovely, but there's nothing here for me in my heart. I just don't feel anything for them. I'm just like, cool, just bring me something else. I'm just.
Is that because you don't know the story?
I think it's because I just look at them and go, I don't go, I want to find out their story even. I'm just like, yeah, whatever. They just sound like angry elves that just a bit kind of that stereotype of just kind of they're all hoity-toity and think they're above everyone. And like the hats are stupid.
Well, yeah, I don't know if I don't know if that is the story, but I don't know whether is that just because that's like a generic elf persona.
It just feels it, doesn't it? From the outside, it just feels that. And I'm just like, I don't really care to find out. And I'm sure there's a bit more subtlety to it. Like, I found quite often, if you read into any of the stuff about 40k or even Age of Sigmar, there is some kind of grey areas and kind of depth to the characters, but you have to go and seek it out, don't you?
I think more than anything, like the game, unlike some other games, let's say, there isn't really... There isn't really the character-driven world that we sometimes get from fantasy. To give you an example, like, you know, in the Two Towers, when the elves turn up and there's like the leader elf. Yeah.
Haldir,
thank you. Right, so he's the guy that like drives that story, right? Like, he's the one who like cuddles, and when he dies, we're sad. And then there's literally like 100 fucking faceless elves behind him who we truly don't give a shit about. They look cool when they do the turn, but other than that, you don't care. Stories are pretty much always orientated around characters and not around like whole swaths of people. So it can be hard when they release these model ranges, I find, because especially when they don't introduce it. We talked about this before on the show. When they don't introduce it via a story or like a narrative video, that there's just some dudes, and you're like, cool, just some dude. Like, they don't have any character to them. They aren't a character themselves, and most importantly, you don't know the background of their nation or anything else that's going off. And that's a real hard introduction to a product. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. One of the things, I don't know if you guys saw yesterday, the Diablo release. Did you see that? Did you guys watch the Blizzard reveal yesterday?
The Diablo 2 Reforged.
Yeah, but did you watch did you watch the video for it?
No.
Okay, well, I did. So the interesting point about that was that I had no clue. I had no clue about Diablo 2. I'm just gonna say it. Like, and if nerds want,
you never played it.
Never played it. I didn't get that it was
shit
important.
Out of that game. It's great.
Did you play it loads?
I feel like Blizzard is on a quest to try and destroy as many of Nikos's games with remakes as physically possible.
Just kill
they tried to kill Warcraft 3, but the community resurrected it.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Brought it back.
But my point was that that I never played it, but I got the importance of it from the video that they showed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, Blizzard do with cinematics normally, right?
Yeah, I got the context is the point, and I was like, okay. So yeah, I watched all their vids. Good point, says Joe. I watched like Warcraft. I played Warcraft many years ago, and I still watch their release video stuff. I'm like, oh my god, this looks so exciting.
Solid.
And then I remember never to play it. Don't play the game.
It's okay, we're all going to go play Classic together, Rob. We're a Warcraft stream now. We're replacing Scrivo with Mrs. Scrivo. It's going to be way better.
Yeah, it's going to be way better. We're going to play, yeah. Oh, thanks to Grandmaster Dan for donating $5 US. Who's playing an RTT next weekend. 2 more crushers, 15 piggies and a war chanter. Auto wins, Rob. You've got it. You're going to smash. 15 piggies. Oh my god, that's so many pigs.
So on the flip side of what you said, Rob, about the characters, I find they also have almost the opposite problem, that like the the unnamed characters have so much character thrown into them, and they're very unique poses, that if you're then wanting to use multiples of them in an army, it looks odd. Like, right. I look at the Lumineth characters, I'm like, that guy on a rock, is he a named character? I don't know, because they're using all these weird names for things now. It's less clear to me, like, as an outsider, is that guy just a generic kind of character I can have 2 of in my army? And if I did, would I want 2 of that exact same pose? It'd look odd, right?
It is weird. Yeah, no, I'm with you. Tom, what did you think of the Lumineth stuff that we've seen so far?
I think I had this issue when I was talking about Ragnar, right? In terms of I was talking similarly about how the pose doesn't really look like it makes sense. Similar with who's the Drukhari character? Lilith. What's the name of her? The nice lady. No, the Drukhari character. What?
While you're thinking about it and coming up with it, I just want to thank Gary. I want to thank Gary the Slan for joining us, who's normally a Hydro homie, and it's his first time in Twitch. Let's go, Gary the Slan. There we go. Yeah, there we go. We love it when a Hydro homie comes over. Don't forget, all of this show, if you've never watched us before, is all a podcast available with over 750 hours of content available from last year.
How many episodes is that, Rob?
Literally no clue.
Loads.
Loads of fucking hours.
Yeah, it shows us the first, I think, 500, and then you actually have to go further back into the list of it.
Yeah, they're like, which podcast release 750 hours of stuff a year? They don't like keeping that data. Unlike, definitely like Games Workshop. That's the one. So yeah,
Tom, I think my main issue isn't necessarily that, because I haven't paid too much attention to the Lumineth models individually. I think my main issue is that my sci-fi elves still melt in the sun, but here we have these elves coming out back to back to back for Age of Sigmar. I feel like 40k is the bastard child of Games Workshop, and they don't really care. And it's all
yeah. Why don't they give 40k some more?
Yeah.
What's the matter with you 340kers? What's the
problem? Still haven't got my heavy intercessors.
Eldrad that literally melted.
Come on, let's have this 40k versus Age of Sigmar fucking row. What's the issue?
I don't get any elves, mate. All my elves are made of Finecast. They melt in the sun. You get like tons of elves no one's ever going to use.
But
Tom's
our
Phoenix
elves look
Lord's
stupid.
older than him.
But
our elves have got heads that... What?
But they don't melt in the sun.
That's not...
I'd rather have a stupid-looking model than a hunk of resin.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people
on
don't
the
like
face
school
looks better.
Thank you, the Silent Temptress.
Like, legit, I went to Greece, played with my Elrond in the sun, and his face fell off. Face model, it's on the side in my fucking cabinet. There, mate, I'll get it for you later. 35-degree heat was too much for him, even with aircon on.
Okay, all right. Let's be fair. You guys have got that, but you also have story. Oh no, we've got pretty good story as well, because the guy writing our story is an idiot.
I tell you what, we do have that you don't have, Rob.
What?
We have data.
What 40k has is a fantastic app that you can look forward to being replicated for the Age of Sigmar community any minute now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, 40k. It's a weird place, right? Like, if you were like a new player, or you met someone who's like, "Oh, I'd like to play one of these games. What should I play?" It was like, well, this one's got some pretty old models, and then 1,001 factions models. It's got an app that just doesn't work functionally, but loads of data and is supported fairly well. No story also, because the guy that writes it's an idiot.
I don't know if I want it to be supported fairly well, because they seem to fuck it up every time I get a new edition.
How do you mean?
I don't know, I just seem to hate the game more and more every time. Well, I say hate the game, it's a bit strong, but I seem to not like...
Honestly, I think once you're out playing it, you're going to love 40k again. I think you're going to like this version loads when you're out playing it.
Okay, and in return, I'm going to bring my 5th edition rulebook, and you're going to play 5th with me, and you're going to see the light.
Okay, all right. Zydy guy in the chat said, by the way, Rob, I bought some Montana 94 spray like I've been using. I've been using graffiti spray as opposed to Games Workshop spray. And I found that contrast and washes, watery colours don't really stick to it. I haven't actually tried that yet. So, Zydy guy, that's some good feedback. But I did find that it took a long time to dry. I actually left it for a day.
Hair dryer.
Spraying. Yeah. I don't have any hair. Unlike you, fucking joker. So anyway, I like your new hair, John. Have we all talked about John's new hair yet? Let's do that. What do we think about John's green new hair?
Is that because you're a Dark Angel player now?
Yeah.
I guess so.
I feel like he's just got some green lights on behind him. He's all right.
I'm planning to be an orc, apparently. And I just couldn't do green face. That's your thing, Nikos.
Only on special occasions.
Yeah, it's not like a daily occurrence for Nikos, you know.
Not that we know. We only see him on a Thursday normally, so the rest of the time, who knows?
We never know what he looks like. He just goes to people's houses.
Dressed down Fridays in the office.
No one knows how anyone looks. It's gonna be so weird seeing people after. Right. So, what was? Where were we at?
I think we were talking about ridiculous Lumineth models. I'm sure it's not a new thing to be annoyed about, but another reason why I don't like the Lumineth is their silly hats. Like I know that there's lots of ridiculous things that couldn't really exist in reality in Warhammer 40,000 and Age of Sigmar, like dragons, etc. But when you've got a cavalry guy who's riding like a kangaroo or a horse, and they've got a ridiculously massively tall, unaerodynamic helmet on, it just makes me think that's just silly. Well, why would you design your armor to be that way?
So can we talk about? We could go down a silly route or a serious route. The serious route, real quickly, is because obviously if you take Warhammer Fantasy Battle into account, like it's incredibly like westernized when it comes to fantasy. Like there is other there are other cultural representations made by it, but it's a Englishman's view of the universe. Like it's a westernized view of fantasy and traditional fantasy tropes, rather than like a more well-rounded sort of like exploration of fantasy tropes. I think this is true also in current literature as well, like and in films and TV shows and things like that, which you could look at. And I think one of the things that would be quite fascinating as time goes on. This is too serious a point, I know, for the React show, so I probably won't make it. But like, my point is, I think it's actually just quite interesting. Yeah. I think it's quite interesting that they. So thanks, I will. I think it's quite interesting that they are they at least are exploring it, and also fantasy authors and films and TV shows are exploring how the world looks. Like I get it. Like the Nazis are like a kind of like an interesting thing. So they do like things like Man in the High Castle, and you get these kind of like alternate realities and all this other stuff. Like, but then eventually you kind of like, maybe we just leave that fucking period of time alone. Do you know what I mean?
Like, do you remember now? There's not much more we can do with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like at the end of the day, when you do like a dude on a horse, you've pretty much done all of the dudes on a horse at some point. So why not stick a dude on a kangaroo, or most importantly, a hippo?
Oh no.
Yeah.
But why do they have to wear headgear? Why can't we see all the different hairstyles of the Lumineth Realm-lords? Like some might have braids, some might have undercuts. I want to see this. I want to see all the weird sort of designs that they come up with, and the hair flowing in the wind. It's very elven, right?
Yeah, either that or just an actual aerodynamic helmet.
Yes,
yeah, like you can make a cool helmet that is also aerodynamic, that isn't going to break the person's neck as soon as they go over 10 miles an hour.
Yeah, take the book to the Nürburgring and see what happens.
So I watched a military historian discussing like ancient warfare stuff. One of my favorite films is Braveheart. Lost my virginity to it, by the way. But it's one of my favorite films.
Every time you talk about it, yeah.
It's almost like it's a humble brag.
Which part? Which exact bit?
The way she gets her throat cut.
When she screams freedom.
No.
At that exact moment, he's just like the face.
But my point is, the point I'm trying to make is, the military historian was like laughing at it, and I was like, "What's wrong with this?"
Oh, you watched the Insider video?
Yeah, no, so the military historian was like, "Well, they'd all be wearing plate
historical films." Yeah,
they'd be like, "Or they'll all be wearing plate armor." And I was like, "No, they're Scottish. They'd be in kilts and like living in a mud or whatever." And they were like, "No, it would just be in plate armor."
They wouldn't have had leather at that period. Yeah,
like it was. They were just the same as English. Like they were the same. They'd have a cavalry. It's all the same.
Different flag.
Yeah, just a different flag. And I was like, "Oh, it's fucking so boring, isn't it?" When you think about it. Anyway, so that blew my mind.
Yeah, military historian ruined the first time Rob watched Braveheart.
Well, ruined it now, because now when I watch it back and I'm thinking, oh, how disrespectful to the Scottish. like, because that's pretty disrespectful. They're like, what was it like? It's like, well, they were both just actually in plate mail, and they would have had a fight, and like, you know, they'd have had ring mail and all the other stuff. Like, cool.
I don't know, man.
And you've got such mixed emotions when you're watching this film now.
You are?
You don't need to get.
You've got such mixed emotions when you're watching this film.
I feel like having to pretend that Mel Gibson is Scottish is pretty disrespectful to the Scottish, to be perfectly honest with you. So, you know.
Fair point also.
I think it's already over at that point.
Jonathan, it was Prima Nocta. That is correct. No one's made that joke, and that's brilliant. Thank you so much. I miss you loads. And I hope that the Orange is the New Black book is working out for you. My point was, though, is with the Lumineth stuff, as ridiculous as it is to some degree, like, do you not think that it's fun that they're exploring what fantasy could be in the future?
Yes, but can they not go too far? Because I want to dissuade the furry menace from making its way into our fandom. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't mind them exploring new things, but as long as they're like cool and kind of make sense in that world, like,
and not horrendous for people to paint. Like your average Joe painting that fox guy on the big swirly thing. You look at that and go, what the fuck? Where do I start with that? Like that's not an entry level kind of kit for people to be buying.
I don't know. Like what you mean for painting, for the
I
painting.
think it's a daunting prospect.
I don't feel like Lumineth are an entry level army for. I don't think a new hobbyist is going to come in and pick up that army because it's too complicated. They're more likely to go Stormcast or Marines because it's like lots of just flat, relatively smooth panelled armour that you can paint, dry brush, wash, and it's done.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I guess so. But does a new person know that when they're picking them up? Like, do they know that? Like,
it depends. It depends on the morals of the Games Workshop staffer that they speak to.
Yeah, because they can be like, these are quite easy. Just use contrast.
Have you seen this Eldar army?
Yeah. You make a good point because they would have to explain it to you.
So, an example of this is my girlfriend Amy went to Games Workshop once because she quite likes the Skaven model, so she picked up a few models of Skaven for me to paint for her.
Okay.
And also she went in and bought one. She went into the shop, bought a Skaven hero once, and then one model that she thought was kind of cool. And it was a troll one of the new troll models, and it was £40. So it was like one model for £40, and she doesn't like it anymore. But the big Trog boss dude. So that staff member kind of like, I don't know, just sort of like, someone who doesn't really play, I'll sell you this really, really expensive model. So like a new person coming in, if they might just try and sell them the most expensive.
And that's quite a complicated model to paint as well, a Trog boss. Like, it's not an easy model to paint, right? Twitch Prime Go. What's going on, John? What are we saying?
Saying people should use their Twitch Primes because it essentially is a free sub, right?
It is. If anyone's watching live now and hasn't used their Twitch Prime subscription to just subscribe for free, that would be great. Or you could pay some money and subscribe. Either way, it supports the show. The reason that we do the Reveal React is because the Honest Wargamer Show is not sponsored by anyone. Our sponsors are no people. It's the Twitch chat. So we give our fair and honest review, even if you don't like hearing it.
Sometimes it's hard to hear the truth.
We'll try anyway.
Yeah, sometimes it's rough to hear the truth. All right. But thank you. And there's also Patreon. Thanks, Jonathan. Oh, lovely. So what I was going to say was, Nick, I know that you're not like into the new stuff, but what would you maybe this is for you, John and Tom. What would you be interested in seeing from the Lumineth? Obviously, we know that there's a Rue Archer, and we think that there might be, and we know that there are also kangaroo riders. We think that there might also be a camel on the way. We're excited
about
bolt throwers.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's meant to be bolt throwers coming, isn't there? Which is kind of archetypal of like high elves in the old world.
Yeah. I want to see sword masters as well.
Yeah, something with big lions or something like maybe they're part lion instead of them wearing lions this time around.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
It feels like what they do, right? It's like close enough.
I don't think so. They did have lions. If they're going along like the high elf route of previously, thanks to T Tucker, Boise, Flog Mollusk, Maged Own, all for subscribing right now, and Straylight.
Thanks, dudes.
And plain old Gavin. Almost forgot. Thanks, Magic Thompson. Also, oh man, that was lovely.
Thanks,
I mentioned
dudes.
that. And to Gitley. Oh, thanks very much. What was it? So sorry. Carry on what you're saying, John.
So like leaning into that whole, they used to have quite an aesthetic around lions, and it's kind of, it could still touch on that, but then kind of adjacent to it. So maybe make them lion people, which is kind of a thing that if they're trying to push and grab people from like Magic the Gathering, the Leonid sort of thing in there is quite a big thing.
Okay.
So maybe trying to kind of grab people in from outside, from other game systems perhaps as well.
Thanks to JS505 for subscribing as well, and Mage Zone. So they had lions in old High Elf stuff. They had lions.
Yeah.
They had dragons and lions. We've not seen any dragon stuff yet. We haven't seen any lion stuff yet. So that's interesting.
Ages ago, they kind of started to explore. It was like the white lions of Trace or something like that. Trace. And they kind of like bought out. They have metal bottles. And did they ever have a plastic kit for them?
Yeah, they did. They had white lions. Yeah, they had white lions on foot, and they had white lion chariots.
Yeah, there was a chariot, and then that was kind of it. They kind of like, and then the old world was destroyed. So I kind of feel like they started down the white lion, exploring the white lions as a sort of a theme and a range for elves. So it would be kind of cool if they, because I always thought they were pretty cool models. So it'd be really cool if they explored that a bit further. Yeah.
I want to see all the beasties. Like, if this is going to be like the weird beastie rider faction, I want to see them all. I want to see kangaroos, possums, hippos, camels,
and
elephants.
What used to really get me kind of fancy curious when I was like a kid, where I was only spending my money on 40k because that was what I was playing. It was the dragons, like having those big epic dragons with massive wingspans with someone sat on top of them. They don't do that at the moment.
They do things, not for elves, but they do things like Archaon, they do things like Nagash, they do the big giants and what have you.
Every faction had them,
right? Yeah,
I kind of want to see mini dragons, like medium-sized dragons, almost like pterodon riders, but
about
just
phoenixes,
sort of like
stuff like that.
Yeah, Wyrms.
It'd be worth it, right?
Wyverns.
Yeah, Wyverns, Wyverns. Oh, Jace Harper, thank you for resubscribing. Big love to you. And to JS505, I think I said that. When the first plastic dragon kit came out in 7th edition, it blew my mind, says intern Matt. But that makes sense because he's a weeb. That's not fair. That's just true.
It's true.
I'd also like to see badgers. Badgers would be really good.
You could do a night elf version with like badgers and foxes and hedgehogs, and they're all assassins. It's like some over the hedge level shit.
Oh, that would be super good. That would be super. I would quite like them to explore. Like, I mean, they always go abroad generally for like models, and I know I've just said it's nice to see them branching out and thinking about non-westernized fantasy, but also I wouldn't mind them going like real like animals of farthing wood sort of like approach. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like a bit like
very
parochial.
British.
Yeah, like super British, like too British. Maybe they're not even like an army that can play in the game. They're more some sort of like
a warband. Yeah, Warcry warband.
Yeah, or
Toad Hall.
Or you know, like go on.
You could do that with like the Kernothi if they're playing into that whole like elves from the nature, and there's like centaurs and stuff like that. You have literally like badger riders, like have like little teeny half height like elf type sprite characters on a badger, and have that as your cavalry. That'd be awesome.
I tell you what, Rob, you know how a few weeks ago we were talking about how big Spain is in the market for Games Workshop?
Yeah.
I feel like there's one model, one mythical creature you could do that'd make you cash money.
Oh, please tell me.
Appreciates. It's the Chupacabra.
Oh, nice.
You could do the Chupacabra.
All South Park references are going to be with me today.
That wasn't a South Park reference. That's
it's
okay.
mythology.
No, because it was a reference to you. Let's do a Chupacabra model.
They could just read one of these things and steal everything.
D&D Monster Manual.
Just steal everything from this like they used to.
Yeah. I just look through the D&D Monster Manual and be like, I wonder what we're going to build today.
We'll put an elf on that. We'll put an elf on that.
So someone said hyena elves. We could just do gnolls. There you go. That's a new destruction force.
Gnolls. Okay, good. Take me through that.
Maybe
That's good.
Positive win rate. Yeah, maybe. We can't tell though because it's got no data.
So, Tom, just let you know, you're getting some love, especially from our Australian crew, the Down Under Network lads. They're saying "Suns out, guns out."
I've actually got a jersey that says that. It's my 2016 Ireland jersey that just had "Suns out, guns out" blazoned across the front of it.
There you go.
A singlet. I believe.
If I was Australian, I currently would place this as a battle, and I'd have it say "Suns out, nuns out." But no one's or nuns out, guns out. Also,
I have been lobbed onto nuns duty now, so I need to learn how to play nuns. So yeah.
Noel Fielding as a special character.
Oh my god. Perfect. With a polo over one eye for some reason.
Oh god. All right, so let's talk about. So that's Lumineth. Lumineth is going to be one of the things we see today. There is some other stuff that they're also showcasing as well as obviously just Age of Sigmar. They've said that they're going to talk about Warhammer Quest, Warhammer Underworlds. So we can just skip Warhammer Underworlds because we might see a Warband. That's really exciting, and the 8 people who play at Warhammer Underworlds, brilliant work. Really happy for you. But for Age of Sigmar,
Bone Reapers, isn't it? That's basically it. It's 3 to 5 new Bone Reapers. That's all.
3 to 5 new Bone Reaper models, which is it's fine.
One's got a big scythe, I think. From what we've seen.
Those kind of things are interesting to solve the problem that you raised earlier, John, about having generic characters that have a single mono pose.
Yeah.
The Warcry warbands are quite good for getting like unique style characters that might be able to either be a different pose for an existing model or easily converted to be a more unique hero.
Yes. So a good example of that is Gloomspite Gits. They don't have a plastic shaman. You can just use Zarbag from Zarbag's Gits. It's a solution. So.
Hey, She Who Thirsts, happy Saturday to you. I think it's a great delivery system for random new models into the game. I'm in love with it. I'm with you guys. It's great. As a game, I care not.
I care zero about it because it's about buying cards and then them getting invalidated. It's like I don't. If I wanted to be in that, I'd play Magic the Gathering and have my cards invalidated.
Yeah.
Play Warhammer. I want my entire collections of models invalidated, not cards.
That's why you don't sell them, so they become revalidated again. It's fine. Yeah. You're right, John. You're right, man. He's gone. That's not good.
That was such a good sliding. Yeah, I don't want to play this game because sometimes I'll invalidate my cards. Yeah, I want to play Warhammer where I'll invalidate my whole collection at the same time. Yeah, you've got it there,
The
Nick.
next edition you can. They'll fix it eventually. They'll eventually become good, right?
Oh, if I want something invalidated in this game, I won't play Underworlds. I will buy the books. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Yeah.
Neil, you log into my Rob's Warhammer account and you'll access everything. Free. You're not buying any books.
This is valid if they're old. Rogue Idol, that's a good example of one. Jim Vessel. Oh man, thanks to Jim Vessel for he's not only is he awake, he's in the chat and he just donated £22 to the show. Thanks, Jim Vessel. He also has done the math to work. He's also done the math to work out what it requires us to get to 139.69. Thank you, Jim Vessel.
He's the hero we deserve.
I intend to build a piece of terrain and stick Jim's name on it now. So it'll probably be a salt mine. That's what I'll probably build.
With some OSL on it, right?
Oh,
he's quite a painter.
Oh, that's lovely. Is you still on holiday, Jim? That's the big question. So the Gravelords, can we make a gymnasium? Okay. Marcus Rock, thank you for subscribing and playing on the stream this morning. That was good. Now, my question to you guys is, obviously Realm-lords, Gravelords is where we're going. This is the most exciting release for me in maybe a couple of years, if I'm honest with you. I was excited about the new Sylvaneth book because I'm a big OG Sylvaneth player, but I honestly think that the Gravelords are imagination-wise going to, if they hit the exact stride that I want, which is, I've talked about this on the show previously, if they're Sylvanian and they've instead of there just being an army of vampires, they're they've got a city, they've got different kingdoms, they're different elected counts,
dynasties,
all of that. Then
what time does it start, bad boy?
It starts in another 40 minutes.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
Yeah. So, so for me, this is the most exciting release possible, and I'm hoping that we're going to see those guys today. And we did see the look at new Blood Knights yesterday. There was a silhouette for new Blood Knights. Is either of you three? John, I'll ask you. Have you ever been interested in vampires? Obviously, apart from your hair, letting us know that you clearly like the Twilight franchise.
I hate Twilight, thanks. I'm more of a Buffy guy. This is me trying to be Spike, not Spike, Oz. I'm totally trying to be a werewolf right now.
Oh my god,
That's
Oz
why
was
he knows
such a
the
great
names, what a
character, wasn't
nerd.
he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great character.
To me, I think it was 5th edition. The Vampire Counts, when they did that, the previous version of like the coach and stuff. I loved the aesthetic then because it was this whole kind of grimy, kind of earldom, kind of aristocracy thing with like skeletons. Made sense that they were kind of their lesser kind of troops and stuff. And I loved that. Never got to it. And then when the old world kind of ended and that was gone, I was just like, well, it looks like I'm never going to play a Death Army then, because to me, Flesh Eater Courts don't scratch the same itch.
I love how you specify it was the old world that ended, not our current one, because we're all.
I'm trying not to think about that. But I do have a War Master fantasy army, so it's just like I look at it and go, I was kind of half there and then never did because it has like a Sphinx in it. So I had like the Tomb Kings, and it was like I could have gone one or two ways, but I never did. So this is an army that I think if it lands well, based on what they've kind of showcased, I think I'm sucking into it. As long as it's not Gloomspite Gits hard to play, because I really struggled with them. That was the last time I was excited about a Sigmar army, and then went, well, this is quite tough to play. Squigs are just not great.
Do you need it Dark Angels easy to play level?
I need something that kind of has kind of a base, like you don't need to have the skill level, so I can learn the game at the same time, because I was going in completely cold to Sigmar. I was like, this is hard.
Yeah, Gits is a hard army to play.
Yeah,
which is
that
weird.
Was a tough start, and it's like I wanted it to be fun, and it was just tough. So hopefully they'll have that play style that kind of suits that kind of 40% win rate kind of potential, maybe a little bit higher, maybe, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like just something good enough.
You can learn the game with, yeah. Well, you don't have to worry about learning your army at the same time.
Yeah.
But not Stormcast.
Militant Snowfake for donating 245 bits. Can I also just read out some comments in the chat? Jonathan's going to go and get himself a tattoo over in Sweden, and he's getting the vampire dude from Twilight on my arm. There's a lot of vampire dudes from Twilight, John. Which one? James, MMX James, Tom, finally given in and joined the AOS thing, and he's unboxing Glottos or Skillion as I listen.
Good. Like me, Manny, and James are going to turn up and just bully all you people. All you role-playing nerds, it's going to be great.
Well, we are a narrative channel after all, so let's make sure we say that. Thanks to Jake Van Holten for saying hi, Harding, sorry. Hey, Tommy Butters, what's going on? Praying for you could play eels, John. Super easy to do.
They look dumb to me. It's not an aesthetic that pleases me. I'm like, if it was 4 turtles was an army,
it all looks dumb. That's the point.
Yeah, but they're not my kind of dumb. They're not like farty gas balls of mushroom stuff.
All right, okay, we're at that level. Okay,
yeah. Quigs are my thing.
Nick, how do you feel about a Gravelord / vampires aesthetic? Has it ever been anything that's sung to you? Something that you'd be interested in seeing?
Yeah, definitely. One of my favourite warband in Mordheim is the Vampire Counts warband. It's not a uniquely Warhammer.
What is Mordheim?
Mordheim. It's the greatest game on earth.
I just thought I'd give you an opportunity to say that.
Never heard of it.
Never heard
about Mordheim.
Never heard of it.
Oh, it's a fast-paced, tactical, narratively driven, skirmish-level campaign system that you can play with 2 to 4 friends.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes.
All right. And there was a vampire one in there, was there?
There was a vampire warband, yeah, along with humans, chaos, Skaven, Lizardmen, everything. Anything you could want.
Sisters of Sigmar.
Sisters of Sigmar, exactly. Yeah.
What?
All the human warbands.
Witch hunters. There was so much choice. It was great.
Yeah, okay. And the Mordheim aesthetic is like very dark and grim dark, similar to sort of like Blanche style artwork. And yeah, I love the vampire aesthetic. I think the new models that come out are brilliant. And I think with the difference between Lumineth Realm-lords and the Gravelords, I don't think they need to reinvent the wheel. They've had to reinvent the wheel with Lumineth, and they've come up with this crazy, weird scheme, which is going to divide opinion. It's going to be very Marmitey, where some people will love it, some people will hate it. Whereas the Gravelords, I think that the aesthetic is already there. They just need to make sweet models, and from their point of view, make models that they can protect their IP over because it's a new release. But yeah, I think the models we've seen so far are amazing. And I do really like that aesthetic, so it'd be really cool. And I also hope that, like you said, Rob, that it's not just a vampire army with vampires. It'd be really cool if they had like a low-level core infantry unit, which was just humans who are obeying the vampire lords. So in Mordheim, to reference that again, the Mordheim Warband had a hero unit called a Dreg, who was an alive human who was just enthralled by the vampire. So you could have similar units for this Gravelords
thralls
army, which would be pretty sweet, actually. I think,
we talked about this on the show the other day. Like, there's a whole bunch. My local club, Holes Angels, has a full diorama-style Mordheim boards with smoke machines and stuff.
Boom.
It's kind of insane.
Nick,
you need to go there and play some Mordheim.
I need to go and pay homage to that.
You do. You need
like
to
some
get
sort
homage.
of like a religious. What's that? Yeah,
pilgrimage.
Pilgrimage
to Mecca.
Yeah. Just for everyone who's tuning in live, by the way, this is our second stream of the day of 3 at 4:30 today. After the reveals, we will be going to the final of a single elimination TTS tournament that we have been covering, which is quite exciting. There was There was an 82-player Age of Sigmar TTS event 2 weeks ago called Hammer Time 7. 8 of those players made it into the final in a single elimination bracket today. Of those 8, 7 were of the Grand Alliance Order. No death and no chaos factions made it into the final. Thanks to but pardon me.
Were they all Ideneth or Doc?
They were not. They were all Ideneth or Seraphon. There was a Lumineth in there as well.
Seraphon. Sorry. Yeah.
There was also a Lumineth in there as well. But the one of 8, the chosen one, Orkman. Yeah. One destruction player. One big war guy going trying to take it out, and he had possibly the hardest run ever. He's got to go through 2 Seraphon players before he even gets to the final. But in round 1, which we saw last, if you go back and watch the VODs, you'll see round 1 we ended up with the Ideth Deepkin beating our Cities of Sigmar army. However, Orkman destroyed his first Seraphon player. And so he is now up against second Seraphon player. And
is he just designed to beat Seraphon?
No.
Okay.
No, because there's no list you can design to beat Seraphon. And then, but if he does win that game, then at 4:30 we will be covering the final, where we might see Orkman take out the greatest victory anyone's ever known. So I just thought I'd keep everyone updated. So if occasionally I shout,
that would be historic.
Yeah, if I shout Orkman's winning, it's
and we all need to put all our mental energies towards him winning, because that's how Orc magic works. So we all need to believe, and that will help him.
Yeah, just believe that he's winning, and he will be winning.
Yeah, he will be winning. Yeah. Pretty. So, Nick, I was talking about Gravelords, just to go back to that. The Gravelords, I said the other day, one of the things that I'd like to see from the Gravelords, well, a lot of people in the chat were saying when I did the show on it the other day, either it's a Horde army that works with necromantic energy and summoning a bunch like zombies and skeletons and other stuff. I don't think I would like to see that, personally. I think that what I'd like to see is more elite. Like, I'd like everyone to be a vampire, basically. You know, I want your lords to be vampires, but I want your lower vampires. Maybe they're not, they haven't got as much energy, or who knows what. Like in kind of like more elite, like frontline infantry.
Like
do you know what I mean?
First of his bloodline, and then like third generation or whatever. Powers aren't quite, because they're not, if they're not a pure blood kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I want them. I want many elite vampires with minimal thralls. Thank you, She Who Thirsts. That's exactly what I'd like. Yeah, like 100%. That's what I'd like to see. Like tanky. I'd like them to be these elite blender lords, which I think would be good. That poses problems in the game because obviously board control's an issue and a bunch of other stuff. But I think that would be a really fun way to take it, and I think it would be really cool to almost like Bretonian them, if that makes sense. You know, like where like you have an elite set of infantry, so you end up with, you know, you could almost trace their lineage. Does that make sense? Like their bloodline. I think that's what I'd like to see.
I feel like the Blood Knights previously was a unit of 5. I feel like they're going to get the Vanguard treatment, where they're like, the models are bigger, they're beefier, but they're like, like you say, a smaller elite unit of 3 probably, I reckon. Because there's lots of Age of Sigmar cavalry kits that are like that. Like the Stormcast have the units of 3, like the Tiger dudes and the Dragon Riders. They're all big, monstrous cavalry. Yeah, Gorgon Hunters as well. They're a good example of sort of like more monstrous cavalry that are 3 rather than a unit of 5. So I feel like the Vampire Blood Knights are going to be a unit like that, I think.
And no, I don't want them to be a vampire caste system, as Nathan has pointed out in the chat. That's not what I want to see. I just mainly think that the bloodlines are a super interesting place.
Wait, is that Nathan?
It is Nathan, yeah.
Okay, of course it is.
Gary the
69.
Says, I played Seraphon for 2 years, was super excited for the new book. Got the new book. Have not played because of COVID. Now I'm playing Iron Jaws. Really hoping Orkman takes the tournament. Gary this land, we're all hoping Orkman takes the tournament. There's the reveal today, and then there's the real reveal as to whether or not Orkman wins the tournament today. So yeah, that's true. John, you got any... no, Tom's eating, so we won't do that now. John, you got any other feels on the vampires at all?
I would like to see them do something with... Isn't there, like, in Old Fantasy, there was, like, the Strigoi, which were, like, the monstrous guys. Mm-hmm. Wasn't there a third type as well as the kind of the counts themselves? Kind of them tapping into that, maybe, as well.
So I think... So what if I'm going to throw something out there now? Yeah? I'm gonna throw a word out. Werewolves.
I think we'll potentially see that, because in the Warhammer Quest previews and teasers and stuff, there's people with like dog-like legs. So yes. I think we'll see that. I think we're going to see some sort of like maybe not fully werewolfed up, but that weird kind of transition where people are like halfway through the transformation, where they're like almost like the way the Wolfen look. It feels like that.
Yeah, and they could be like the new Zeets, the Slanesh Gors.
Yes,
that kind of size werewolf unit of 3, monstrous infantry style unit. That could be kind of cool.
I think that would be. I think it'd be very cool. I think the idea of werewolves in it, because it looks like the guy or the creature that is at the heart of Warhammer Quest is a werewolf lord and not a vampire lord. So I would be most interested if, like, I think that would be a cool combination as well. And you know how we talked about the thralls, because when you go pure vampires, you think, oh, where's the variety? They at least get to mix it up there, and you get to have these werewolves.
Different ways to play them as well.
And as I understand it, not to get too much into Lycan lore, because again, like Tom said, we're always constantly battling in the Age of Sigmar community to not let the furries overtake us. No disrespect to the furry community. Like, they're an amazing group of people, but we don't want to be taken over by the furry community. It's a very different sort of thing. We want room in the community for furry and non-furry people, not 100% furry. And that's my major drama. But with
as long as 69% of the community is furries, that's an acceptable level.
That's the perfect...
That's the threshold.
That's exactly right.
There shouldn't be S-tier win rate, at least. Or like...
thank you to W. Soren in the chat for subscribing. And also, I hope him and everyone in his community as well, because he's down there in Texas. So I hope you're safe and everyone around you safe. Loads of love to you. So what I was going to say was, as I understand it with a Lycan gene, you get Lycan curse or whatever. You get bitten by a werewolf and you become a werewolf. Is that how it goes?
Yeah, unless you get cursed. You could get cursed as well.
Or if your parents are both werewolves, you might be born a werewolf.
Is that true?
I've seen it in, I think there was a BBC program where they had characters that were, it was also like almost like a tier of, like, they felt like they were better werewolves because they were kind of almost pure strain. So there's that sort of angle to it as well, which you get quite often with vampires, don't you? Where you get the kind of like, we've always been vampires, or we're sired by proper vampires, not like some kind of freshly born one.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Being human. There we go. It was a documentary. It was actually Sheffield in the early 2000s. I think it was a documentary.
Okay. Good thoughts there. My question, the reason I ask is because if you can make a human a werewolf in a land of dwarves and men,
could you make a wolf a werehuman?
That's not where I was going.
Once a month he becomes Dave the accountant.
That isn't where I was going at all. I'm more meant... What a shit unit that would be. It's just a bunch of humans, right? And you're like, oh, what unit is that? Well, like, normally they're werewolves, But actually,
this is big scary wolf. Yeah,
this is the 1 month
transforming into a small human who's like pathetic now.
Man, bear, pig.
Yeah. So my question is, it's 25 minutes until we start, Brady. My question is, could you turn ogres into werewolves? Could you turn are there other races you could turn into werewolves? Is my point.
Yeah, so or are they genetically resistant to it?
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. The reason I asked though is because
maybe the ogre population has a very advanced vaccination program against the lichen virus.
Against the lichen gene.
Yeah, they locked down early, man, against the last outbreak of the werewolves. It was a real problem.
Werebears. That's what I'm trying to say. Were-dragon. You could have were-stonehorns. Thank you. You're all getting it. So why don't because then you would end up with really big werewolves, not just human-sized werewolves.
And if they're more unusual, unusual, there's nothing stopping it just being that you just have less of them in the army. So make it just the one-off model rather than it being a unit of 30 of them.
Yeah. Oh, so you mean unique? So you would have a unit of werewolves, but they would all be from different races. So an elven werewolf.
I don't know, but I suppose you could. But I like the idea of the ogres, doing you have normal small werewolves, which are just like humans, and then you have a unit of 2 big, almost like the rat ogre sort of equivalent, where you have less of them, but they do a different role.
What about were-trogoths?
But they regenerate.
Oh my word, that sounds horrific.
That'd be so tanky.
Were-trogoths, and you could also have were-gits or were-grots.
I'm not sure on that one.
That would be cute, though.
Were-squig?
Were-squig.
A farty fluff ball. It'd basically be a tribble. Oh my god.
It would be a tribble. Oh, and then we'd be in trouble. Just FYI, there would be warg ogres, warg elves. Were means man. A werewolf is a man. Oh, thank you very much, MMX James. So they'd be warg squigs, not were squigs. We need to get this right, because Games Workshop aren't going to drop the ball. There's no way that they're going to know that that's not the way to do it, and they're going to call them wargs or whatever.
What does it say on Lexicanum? Because that's normally where they get their info from, right?
Wouldn't it just be a squig wolf at that point? Just call it a squig wolf. It's fine.
But it's not a squig wolf. It's a squig who's been infected by the lichen gene, therefore is a warg squig.
Okay.
Oh my god, wargnetters would be so dangerous.
But what kind of lichens are these? Are they going to be by the moon, or can they shift at will? Are they kind of skin shifters? Do they change that way?
So this is something that comes up in the Age of Sigmar community, which I need to talk to you three about, because the 40k rule sets have been, the 40k books that just start from 9th edition have been, some of them have been notably strong for people who like to roll their face across keyboards like John, so Dark Angels. And then some of them are a little bit tougher, maybe maybe, yeah. But generally, it hasn't felt
directly into Mike, John. Holy shit!
Yeah, I know that was strong.
Just as for Rob,
it hasn't felt like one person has played the game and then written the codex, and one person is a foreign exchange student who really has never played any games at all and is really into the clarinet and doesn't know what they're doing when they're writing a battle tome or a codex, and then has written one. That's the kind of disproportionate level between the two books that we generally get in Age of Sigmar. The Slaanesh and Daughters of Cain are a good example of those currently. And so, how do you guys feel about that? If that was in 40k, if one book was going to be really good and one was going to be in the bin, awful,
it would annoy me.
Okay, what about you, Tom?
Because it's just 50-50 if your book's going to actually land right and just be unplayable.
Can you repeat the question? Sorry, Rob. The Maelstrom lobby was in my DMs again, trying to get me to. We're not getting Maelstrom at WTC.
Probably won't though. Nick, what are your thoughts?
Personally, it would depend on if I was going to play the book. If the book came out and I wasn't interested in playing it, and it was shit, I'd be like, whatever, I don't care. But obviously, it's not ideal for the game. You want every book to come out to be roughly balanced. and on the similar power level, because then there's no like, getting jealousy of other people's books, and it creates more of a fair gaming environment. So it's obviously better. And you'd hope they would figure out a better system for it, if they have separate writers that aren't working together to come up with books together. You'd hope that there's a system after that, either that's playtesting or whatever, that could catch those things. Obviously their process for that is not transparent at all, so we don't know what they catch and what happens in there, apart from like rumors that you hear and stuff like that.
They don't catch anything though, because they've got no data.
It's true. It's 100% true.
Yeah.
Which could explain the difference between the both. But that's right, Joe. There's big codex energy and little codex energy. That definitely is something that we get. My point is, though, understanding that maybe there's going to be lichens and vampires. I think maybe are affected by the moon. I'm not sure either. And I guess the main thrust of my point is the moon mechanic for Gits is not the strongest. I'm not going to lie. The bad moon Gits mechanic. But,
it's a nice idea.
But because this is the world Age of Sigmar's currently exist in. This is the world. There's a new army coming out in the Gravelords, right? And it will either be, there is no place between this, rubbish, or very competitive. That's how the books are released. One of those two. There is no in between.
S-tier or in the bin, right?
Yeah, sin or bin. That is all we get. But my point is, to you three, the Gravelords, whether or not you're excited about them or not, I'm excited about them. If you could have them as a beautiful-looking army with all the models that you like, my choice to Twitch chat and my choice to you three, Tom, we'll start with you. If you could have an army that's sin or bin, because you like the models, what are you going for?
What do you mean by sin and bin? Sorry, I don't understand the concept.
Okay.
Bin is shit, sin is good.
What, you want me to pick an army that is good and an army that is bad?
So 66% win rate or 35% win rate?
No, I didn't. Can you ask someone else? Because I don't understand the question.
Okay. So the Gravelords are coming out as an army.
Yeah, I get
that. Okay,
yeah.
Sweet. In Age of Sigmar, the books are either shit or good. There's no fairly common like in 40k. Yeah? Right? They haven't really dropped the ball in 9th yet. Like, not dropped.
Oh, you want me to pick which books that have currently been released are good and which ones are bad?
No. What I want you to do is, with an upcoming book, if you had to collect it, which one would you want it to be? Overpowered or underpowered?
I can go.
Underpowered, man.
Yeah. Why?
Because I like finding cheeky things that people don't know about because they didn't read it because they assume it's shit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's it. There's way more glory.
Yeah, there's a bit I didn't understand.
There's way more glory in playing a shit book and making it work, or finding shit that no one notices about it, and than playing the broken OP book. Like if a new book comes out and it's broken and you win a tournament with it, everyone just goes, oh well, because it's a new broken book, innit? Like who cares? The book won the tournament rather than you winning it. Whereas if you win a tournament with a shit book, it's like, yeah, what a hero.
Okay, that's fair. Like super. And Twitch chat seems to 100% agree with you. And Iron Gutsman, I didn't say 35% win rate. Like that's not where I'm at. Like John.
That was me.
Numbers.
That was me just being very polarized. I was trying to give the example, which is probably a bit much, but.
John, are you in the same boat as everyone else? The underpowered.
But it depends. If it's my only army, and I was constantly being dick kicked with it, I probably would lose interest.
John is on the other side. Just fucking admit you want the pure power.
I just want an easy route to victory. I barely want to do anything in the game.
It's that horrible thing that this is not an easy question. It's like I don't want to. So I tried Age of Sigmar with the whole Gits. Found that really tough. Fell in love with the Slanesh models. They became bananas broken. That put me off even playing the game because I didn't want to be that guy. So I want that one thing. I want in the middle, which is just in Age of Sigmar doesn't seem a thing. So I think I'd rather than be the weaker option and not be given the hassle that I get for my Dark Angels at the moment. So
okay,
that is pretty frustrating.
No one else is giving you shit about it apart from us.
Just you.
Just us.
Yeah.
Thanks to Tory Rob for subscribing for 8 months. What the fuck?
Yes. Sorry, Rob.
Pete says I prefer to grind out games and get good with a book that's not top tier, but the bad books at the minute are just so far off the place it's not possible. I think I think
you become a better player by playing shit armies as well.
So do you know what
it's like going running with ankle weights on. When you finally get the ankle weights off, you're fucking lightning.
You just got to get past that first bit though, haven't you? Which is the hard bit.
Yeah, so that brings up a thing that everyone in the chat's talking about. Elmbirds says Vince did a show earlier that said that that the OP bonkers armies that played less than the fat middle ones. You do have to remember that this is also on Vince's show note. It's not meant to be a criticism in any way, but I do think that means you end up with a more specific player set than maybe you would, like very much like if you had, let's say, someone like Valrak, if he took a quiz for the people who watch his content, if they can read, and then if you did what? Nick, fucking rude bastard.
What?
And then
what? I haven't even said that.
But then if you took, let's say, if you took Art of War's customer base or viewership, and then you ask them a question, there's a difference.
They can't think for themselves, so it's fine.
Let's do another content creator. Let's rip on them.
I come out and say, "Oh, fucking Scramblers is shit." Everyone's like, "Yo, you fucking idiot! Here's the data from Backroom Barry's game, and you don't know what you're talking about." Nick says the same thing, and fucking, he's cutting edge, is he?
He's in a Metal Watch. Alright, cool. Let's not
criticize. He's got his own fucking stat bar.
My point is
singlets.
That you end up with your different audiences. I think will generate different information from those polls. Is what I'm trying to get at. Not meant to be. That's like, and I'd have that conversation with Vince all day, and I'm sure he'd be cool with me having that conversation with him. So what was my point before that? The underpowered. Oh yeah, underpowered, overpowered. I care less about. What I prefer, Beast of Chaos is a good example of this. What I prefer is internal parity to be much better, i.e., like I want all of the models in the range to be in some way viable, if that makes sense. With Beast of Chaos, everything is viable because everything sucks.
Yeah.
Right?
It's all exactly as shit as everything else.
Yeah, right? So I personally prefer the book itself to have better internal parity with itself and have more options. Like I'd like to build, like, I don't know, like maybe like a Death Starry army, or like character heavy army, or like little MSU army, and I could do all of those things inside the book. And if I had the same result with any element of the book doing that, then it'd be cool. I'd be free to play a, let's say the army was only ever pitched at like winning 3-2 at a tournament or 4-1 at the tournament, then sweet. Like that's the best I can do with any one build, but there's several builds. I think that's more exciting than the book being underpowered or overpowered.
Do you feel like that's an issue of units overlapping each other, right? For example, if you have two units that do the same role, but one is obviously better at it when you build it a certain way than the other one, you just won't ever see the other one because this one just does the same thing but better. Whereas if you give everything individual specialized roles, you can say, oh, I want a unit that does this. Oh, this unit is perfect for that. Or I want a unit that does this. And it doesn't mean that your army is necessarily going to be the most optimized build, but you can create a characterful army using any units you want.
Yeah, I think the way to do that, and there's some put stuff in the chat about this as well. Shane Hobbs, is this the narrative Alapex channel I've heard so much about? 100%. Welcome to the narrative Alapex channel. The point that that you're making, Tom, is, in my opinion, the vehicle for them doing that should be subfactions. I think that the thing that you can do so well with this game, and some of the books that do really well in Age of Sigmar specifically, if we're being really specific, are good because their subfactions make them play a different way to some degree. Yeah? Like, those subfaction bonuses shouldn't shore up the problems in your army or add on to the strengths of your army. They should orientate the way that you play that book. Like, and yeah, it's a little bit upsetting if you want to play a subfaction, but then the other subfaction makes the unit that you like better, so then you'll go up and play as that. But I think that that's a kind of cool mechanic, right? Like, I think that would be the way to make it super, super fun and make it more interesting. And that's why I'm really excited about the Gravelords, because I think we might see Bloodlines, and I hope that they get that at some point. I hope at some point they're like, this is what we're going to do. Angels Vermilion, thanks for
I'm pretty sure if they're releasing a Gravelords book, they'll have something in there to do with the Bloodlines, no doubt.
Because that's the like, that's it's just a great way to make your models be more worthwhile, right? Build your own subfactions are good for this in 40k. Yeah. Would you say? How do you guys feel about that in 40k? Do you think the subfactions do enough to push you around?
I feel like it depends on the book. like I think in it, so like Death Guard, an example, they have sub-factions, but that doesn't necessarily make one sub-faction make demon engines good, one sub-faction make infantry good, one sub-faction make demon princes good.
It's okay.
It just sort of those sub-factions just give you a small different buff which might influence how the army plays, rather than sub-factions making different units in the book good.
So a couple of things on that. Firstly, the stream started. Second of all, when we're talking about these sub-factions, right? I feel like a lot of the time you end up pigeonholed into a similar problem. So, for example, with Necrons, you always see like Relentlessly Expansionist and the other one that gives you OBSEC, right? You may see like a couple, but that's the standard one. You're just going to see that. You don't end up seeing like flexible shit, because these two are obviously better than the other ones. With the Marine successors, you always see something that ends up buffing melee, pretty much exclusively, right? So you end up also pigeonholed into a certain kind of personality of an army, rather than it being, oh, well, I want to run this kind of an army, I can take these faction secondaries because they just don't hold up. I understand that I'm talking competitively, but it's... Obviously, you can still do other things, but the other ones just don't hold up enough that you can ever use them competitively and stand your ground.
Okay, fair points. All right, well, we're on to the reveal, ladies and gentlemen. As you can see, there's Eddie and Adam. We can see them on the stream there with us.
Adam's their entire faces.
Look at Adam's
can
collection.
See all of Eddie's face.
Shit.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about that? Eddie's heady.
And good. Adam Troke has bought 2 Billy bookcases plus a corner piece plus
Adam
the special
in a
doors
new
for
room.
them.
That's a completely different room.
Hoarding Indomitus box sets.
That's a different room right there.
That's the same pile of the camera's moved. Those boxes used to be over his right hand shoulder. So all he's done is tilt his camera.
I was going to ask, are they not all the boxes that he's pulled under from his desk in all the reveal shows? Stacked up in order.
Maybe.
Adam's in a completely separate room. It's really...
I think that's just the angle.
Also, now we can't see out his window, so we can't go and find him.
I know, that's the sad part. Yeah, so I would actually argue that one of the things that I'd like to unpack here is that Adam has made... Can we all just congratulate Adam from like making an effort to upgrade, right? Has he got a new headset as well? Like, there's some significant
the camera seems sharper as well.
It keeps auto-focusing. So there's that there. It's really nice to see, as always, the £270 million be unable to afford like even the smallest amount of tech support for their review team. Like this is going out to thousands of people. 20 quid would be like Eddie could do with a shelf at this stage. Do we not think?
Rather than just a table covered in shit, you might be better to have
his pop vinyl just sitting on top of a box.
I mean, he's a Gene Stealer cult player, so he's not allowed to be too organised because that just removes the entire personality of the army. So, chaos everywhere.
So my question to everyone is after this show, are we going on to, are we going online and we starting a campaign to get Eddie a shelf? That's really where I'm at. Like, is that the most important thing happening in society right now?
Should we do a GoFundMe?
Get them some lights.
Lights.
Splash out and just get them like a ring light each.
What else does he need? A ring light? A ring light? What do you...
One of these bad boys. You know, the thing that every single YouTuber on the planet seems to use. Just like one of these bad boys. Because at the moment it's just like he's using the natural light of his window.
Okay, yeah, I do feel like a set of shelves is something that we should probably ask for generally from those guys. I think that's going to be interesting. I have no idea what they're saying as usual, so it's time. Nick, you got any other reviews from our shot so far?
I think I wouldn't like to see an. They've obviously got lots of product placement in the background, which but I'd rather have them like a fancy green screen with like some cool graphics rather than just like a shot of the room. Get them a green screen, do some cool graphics, make it look more professional.
What is Adam drinking? That's the key part. Is it tea? Is it coffee? Is it just loads of whiskey? That's the main thing.
It's Lamy medium.
Can I thank Grim Slacker in the chat for donating £30 to the show? That's phenomenal. Appreciate that loads and loads and loads. That's so fucking cool. Thanks so much for the support. That's brilliant. You've heard of Elf on a Shelf. Now be ready for Eddie on Spaghetti. That doesn't.
Okay then. All right. Fair enough. I have got it muted, so if something happens, I'll only be able to tell because they'll have some spinny lights.
I just dipped in a second. They're just doing their usual warm up, asking what people are working on, I think, and
where you're listening from around the world.
Yeah. They're doing the broadcast bit.
Always be closing. Shout out to Toon King Tristan. Always shout out to Toon King Tristan.
I've got enough points for one message. What do I send, guys? I also don't want to get banned. Because I
think you should ask Adam to paint his minis because there's a lot of grey plastic on those back shelves.
Rob.
Yeah, but that's fine. Like you don't work for the company and aren't presenting the launch of their product. Like you don't.
Where's his stomper? That's the question. You have to have a stomper behind you if you're on a webcam, right?
He hasn't got a stomper. No, that's the real question. But isn't most of that unpainted in the background?
Yeah, I think it's all unpainted.
A lot of it looks grey. Yeah.
Pretty
disappointing, really.
Look at Eddie. Look at Eddie right there. He's like, look at all my fucking painted. Let me, Nick. If you want to role play with me a sec, I'll be Eddie. Look at all my fucking painted stuff, Adam. I brought this to it. I've got boxes, painting. All you've done is build a shelf. Paint your fucking models, man.
Well, at least mine are on display, Eddie. Like yours are just stacked up boxes behind you. That's like, come on, man, get some class. I've got some LED lights and it's in glass cabinets. That is, presentation is 9/10 of the taste.
Follow up as Eddie's comment. Also, why are you so far from the camera, Adam? What the fuck? Get closer.
Is he far from the Adam? Is he far from the camera, or is Eddie close to the camera?
I think he's framed.
I think Eddie's too close.
I think Eddie's too close. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to need.
Or is he just really big and Adam's really small? We don't know.
By the way, how many weeks now has Eddie had that singular Necron and that butt plug in the background for? I feel like I recognise it. It's been there for a while.
Many weeks. Yeah, I think that's been there a while.
First name terms with it.
What's that other model?
For the Prime, by the way, big love. We love
Prime.
Thank
you, 40k Bunny. Can we please do dubbed of them talking? Yeah, sure, no problem. We'll do that. We'll do that after the first reveal. We'll do the dub. So the question to the Twitch chat, and you three, I'm going to need you to decide. To start with you, John. Which is the right one? Is Adam too close, or like too far, or is Eddie too close?
Eddie's too close, but also
Eddie's too close.
Eddie's lighting, like my lighting, is also pretty bad because I need to sort it out. But like Eddie's lighting looks a lot less. It looks a bit more washed than Adam's. Adam's got a very professional setup.
Eddie's got the window to his left is actually all his lighting is.
Yeah, it's why I need to move my camera across so I don't have that issue. But it's just one of those things. We understand why it's happening, so it's good.
I think Grim Wolf has nailed it there in that situation. Adam's got reveal box range distance.
So you can get the box, because otherwise it's just like, I'm bringing a box out, and it's just like, it's here above my face.
If you just pull it out the bottom of that Jenga tower next to him.
Yeah, Eddie's going to be at risk of injuring his back as he's got to lean back to get it in shot of the camera. So I think he's, at risk there.
Are they getting paid to do this? Yes, it's their job.
That whole...
There you
go. You should. So Tom, ask about third edition when, or is there no data? That's the kind of follow up.
I'm going to ask about universal special rules.
Yeah, stop giving them fancy names. Just make it one thing. It's a deep. Don't give it a funny name.
Yeah. So, they still support that. They still do support Aeronautica. That's definitely a game. So, what are we going to start off with? Underworlds? That's the big question. I don't know if that's what we're going to see. I'm a little scared that it's not going to be Underworlds.
They're trying to sell people subscriptions right now by saying, "Oh, if you want to chat in the chat, make yourself known. You've got to subscribe to do it."
That's
That's the only draw that will make people want to subscribe to Warhammer Live right now. That you can put something in the chat.
I can't. I'm banned.
I'm not allowed to spend my points to send messages.
No, they've disabled it.
What?
No.
I'm not spending money on this shite.
Well, I was going to ask if they were going to do more time. That's a waste.
Oh, God. You can't even spend points to send messages, which is why everyone should subscribe to The Honest Wargamer, because you can send points to send messages, and the chat's free.
You see, our chat is completely off. Yeah. Our chat is, completely for the people. We don't, hoard money so you can throw away shit to chat. I don't know. Although it does help Notley out, I guess, so I can appreciate that.
Yeah. I was once sub to them, but they are nowhere near as fun as you lot, so I gave my sub to you. Oh, thanks, guys. Appreciate that loads.
Yeah. We also stream regularly.
Yeah, right, yeah. And
Totally not whispering people that I know have got subs.
Ask them how they feel about Hit and Run.
Oh my god, like, why is this such a long intro? It's so awful. Like, I don't want to hear anything they've got to say. Like, what are they talking about? The My Warhammer app?
Just spelled Uriel Ventress wrong in the chat. Disgusting.
Oh, well, actually, Tom, did you see what happened after the last Games Workshop reveal stream?
Wait, this guy redeemed a send a message in sub-only mode for 500, but I can't do it. How come this guy can do it?
You've been banned.
I've been shadow banned.
Sorry again says, I can send messages to Warhammer TV, say, have you got any data for these releases? That's the obvious one.
I think I need a sock account.
Does
that mean they've blocked me as well then? Because I can't. That's rude.
I don't think that's the case.
I
think you guys just can't. You guys just can't doing it properly.
I used to be an IT technician, Rob. I should be all right clicking the send a message and sub only mode.
Oh, thanks to Angels Vermillion, made a Twitch account just to sub to you guys, usually a podcast Hydra homie. Angels Vermillion, thanks a fucking lot, man.
Nice.
Fuck yeah.
That's the point.
So nice.
Everybody has an Amazon Prime these days, so all of you can give us money for free. So no excuse.
What happened at BlizzCon? I don't know what happened at BlizzCon.
So Metallica played a concert, but Twitch muted it and played 8-bit folk music instead, so they wouldn't get DMCA.
That's funny. Oh my god, it feels like 18. Oh, Eddie's got a T as well. That's nice. Those guys keeping it up. One of the problems. Can I just talk about this? Not to say that I'm a streaming professional and I've streamed more than both of these two, but I have. Let me talk about a good old thermos mug. Now, when you start your cup of tea, before you start your stream, we started 2 hours ago. Now this is still warm. This is their cups of tea that they've got. I know they're only doing a measly hour, but they're going to be cold halfway through, and they're going to be disappointed.
Testing on that. The sun's got that late in.
Say that again.
No, Bodyhead Manchild has just dropped me a shout out in the Warhammer TV chat.
Why can't I do sub only?
If I was 5 foot, but I kept all the same dimensions, I would be fucking jacked. Unfortunately, I am 6'4", and therefore I am spread out, and therefore I look lanky. So actually, I am shredded, but you guys just can't appreciate it.
You look lanky.
Yeah,
but anyway,
I just spread it out.
You really are the Peter Crouch of 40k.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I used to go on football camps, and they used to call me Crouchy for some reason, despite the fact I refused to head the ball because it hurt.
Because of how you look.
And gives you dementia when you're older.
Yeah.
My question to you guys, Nick, John, Tom, thermoses. Is this a thermos world for you from the streaming, or do you still mug it up?
It's a pro tip. Yeah.
As professionals, we thermos, but as amateurs, you don't thermos. So if you want to be a professional like us, get yourself a nice flask, and you too can become a streaming prodigy.
You can. Thank you to Parry Gallister for subscribing. Loads of love to all of you for tuning in live. It's felt like they've been on for 13 weeks at this stage. Like, what? Are they just reading the chat now? It's a reveal show. Get the fuck on with it. You have 2 idiots who do this all week. You don't need to do this. Come on.
They're just doing a fucking hobby hangout right now. They're talking about people's stuff in hobby in the chat. Some dudes just put Ultramarine on a Chaos Space Marines base, and they're like, "Yeah, that's great."
They're not leeching other people's work for content.
15,000 people watching don't want to hear about Jimmy's Ultramarine on his Chaos base.
Jimmy wants to, though.
No one cares. Want to see new
Honest
stuff.
Wargamer Thermos Wen, great point. Technically, it's 4 idiots to rotate during the week. Thank you, Stu, for an apology.
Maybe we should send to Honest Wargamer Thermoses to Games Workshop as like a streaming gift. Like,
oh my God, let's!
You guys needed a bit of help. We'll help you guys out.
That's what we're gonna do. That's what we're gonna do.
As soon as we're allowed outside, we go to Bugman, so we ambush Eddie and Adam with flasks.
No, this is what we're doing tomorrow. Tomorrow's live stream on the Honest Wargamer midday. That's what we're doing. We're going to do a GoFundMe for Eddie and Adam for thermos mugs and green screens. That's what we're going to raise money for. Like, it won't be a lot of cash. I think it's probably going to be about 60 quid. We'll raise it and then we'll gift wrap it to them because they need it. Like, they're a small indie developer company, like, at the end of the day. You can't raid Warhammer streams. No, it doesn't work.
We are funding Warhammer TV. Does that make them... You know, like in Total War games, you can have, like, another faction...
Oh, here we go.
It's
the Nash. Oh, no, it's not.
It's a camera dude. It's a spinny thing. That looks cool, though. I do like that.
Oh, man, that looks so good.
That helmet is really nice.
Also, look at that backdrop.
Oh, that's nice.
The bolt thrower. Wait, is that guy looking...
Swordmasters.
Swordmasters look great.
If any of you tell me these hats look silly, you're getting fucking shanked.
Oh, man, that one looks great.
They're less silly than the cavalry.
Yeah, they're less silly.
These ones have got, like, the side bits look like you could just put, like, hanging baskets on them.
Who's this guy?
Is that a terrain piece?
That's a terrain piece.
That looks really cool.
God.
I want that on a diorama.
Oh, look at that.
I don't know how I feel about that. Anyone who holds a sword like that is probably a bell end.
Oh, man.
That's
a two-piece. That's a two-piece. There's the Cloud Rider guy. The terrain piece is hilarious that's going to fit on the board. That's so funny.
It's held together by water.
Right.
It's also a rip of a Steve Foot design that he did. Illuminate the future, whatever. Okay.
Pretty exciting, isn't it, guys?
Can I hold on? Can I just scrub back? Does this have a scrub back feature so we can just look at it?
No.
So a lot of that looks really cool. A couple of that looks really stupid. I really like the terrain feature. I really like the.
Here we go.
The original guys. Yeah, these are cool.
These are so good. Like,
they just look a bit plain, though, don't they? Compared to the rest of it.
They can't win. Like, they make detailed models. Say, it's far too detailed. They make something that's a little bit less detailed, but still really cool and pretty detailed.
Well, no, I'm not saying I don't like them. They just look a little bit more plain.
I think he's more having an overarching. My other feedback is the hands and feet are pretty big, like scale-wise.
Are they?
I think so.
They always are. They always are on miniatures anyway.
Proportions are not really there for GW stuff a lot of the time. It's very sort of stylized.
What's hilarious is
really cool. I really like those.
They look really great.
Yeah,
what's hilarious is
their hands are as big as their face.
Yeah, what's funny now is what I would do immediately is I would go onto eBay like right now and I would buy all the Swordmasters that are currently on eBay. Like I'd be like quickly before everyone else cottons on. I'd be like, straight to eBay. Swordmasters, let's go, because they don't look too dissimilar to the original Swordmasters. Ultimately,
Did someone in the Warhammer TV chat just say shame DOK is still getting neglected and battered with the Nerf hammer?
Yeah, don't worry. There's lots of people who live on Facebook, so it's fine. But there's a big stonk advice. They're not that dissimilar to Swordmasters. I like the little Under Armour kind of cloth material. I think that's pretty sweet. I think that's quite cool. I'm vibing on that. Yeah, that looks nice. Nick, you got any feelings on these? Sippy, thanks for subscribing.
They're kind of cool. Yeah, they're kind of cool. I don't hate them. They've still got big silly hats, but they look slightly more. They look a little bit more aerodynamic than the horse riders one, because the main bit of the helmet is just sitting on the head, and then the other bits look, they've got air holes in, so that if they're swooshing it around, it's not going to break their neck.
And I
really like
very
the scheme
Japanese, aren't they?
Yeah, the ninja, not the samurai style banner. It's kind of cool.
But there's an issue in that getting caught up because they're broadswords, right? So they're quite large. Like what's interesting, like their sword. It doesn't matter. We won't get into sword talk now. But
you've watched outside the video again.
Do you know what? Those blades are going to look really, really nice. I think painted up different, with like the runes highlighted, like old school Warhammer Nick.
Glows, yeah.
That'll look super sweet. I'm not a fan of the flags. I think the flags are a bit like
the flags are a bit silly, but that's okay. This is it a ballista? I don't get why there are two in there, but
one to load.
That's the thing.
One to load. Can I just say my favourite bit about this is the gunner just eyeballing down the fletch. There's zero way that gunner can see anything. Yeah. He's looking right at the pommel. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be an angle you'd shoot anyway? Because you'd kind of overarch.
But you still would need to see. He's looking directly into like a piece of metal.
Yeah.
Is he not?
Maybe he's got
Could be a magical seeing stone.
Maybe he's got a computer screen on there. You know, how like big 4x4 mercs have like cameras at the back end of their car so they can see how they're reversing.
So I do know one piece of gossip about this unit. Actually, a little bit of secret is that when they shoot a unit, they make them -1 to hit. That's some gossip I know. So that's what it is. A bolt thrower for an army that already has a 36-inch range shot is a bit scary. I'm not gonna lie. Age of Sigmar, not really.
That's so much.
Oh, do you like this, Tom?
Stupid terrain piece.
Terrain
wait,
piece.
we've gone too fast.
Right, we need to make. Yeah, the guy controlling the slideshow on PowerPoint has moved a little bit too quickly. I want to get that back. It looks so good, man. I love it. I love everything about that terrain piece.
Oh no! Let's keep talking about the bolt thrower. The arrows are huge. That's hilarious.
There it is.
It's a cool piece.
There it is. It's back. It looks like the DOK thing, where they're using the blood that's coming down to make it flow. I wish they weren't, but it looks. I feel like I could stick that on a diorama. It looks sick.
It needs to be on a base.
Did they say there's a new battle tome? That's interesting. I wonder what you guys are saying.
Really?
If
there's a new battle tome, that is. Oh my god! I mean, there needs to be because there's so many books. There needs to be because there's so many units. But I feel so sorry for people who picked up the Lumineth Realm-lords book, particularly the limited edition one. I can't believe that they sold limited edition ones of this book.
Less than a year ago.
Fuck you to everyone who bought it.
I just love that terrain piece. It just looks so cool.
It looks cool, but yeah.
It could be a proper I'm going to stick that on your new Eldar display board, I think.
So one of the points is normally when you're playing in a battle, you bring the terrain piece with you. I mean, bringing a ziggurat is already weird for Seraphon, but this is a weird thing to have bringing to a battle with you.
I kind of want to play Lumineth now. Just make a display board for Lumineth.
What with that terrain?
Yeah,
piece,
just because of that. Just because of that. That looks so good. I love it. I love it.
Oh, so apparently it's either buy the Broken Realms or get the new tome. So there's a whole new tome or buy the Broken Realm in addition where all this comes in.
So they did that with Chaos Space Marines, didn't they? Where they went, you can have the Volume 2 or you can just use Vigilus. And it didn't quite work that way.
Hey, I tell you what. Go on, this would be great to turn into a Chaos Temple and turn that river into blood like Tom was saying.
With skulls in it.
The difference is that Lumineth have their models, whereas Chaos Space Marines from Vigilus still don't.
Yeah.
Now, the cow thing. I like this.
Now,
I really like this.
Just a quick one. Nick, this guy is launching off a rock.
Yeah.
He's walking down the rock, it's fine.
It's a statue again. That. Don't they have any statues that are actually upright? Are they all broken? It's like all the buildings are broken.
Broken realms, mate.
I think this model's 11 out of 10, personally.
I like the helmet. I think the crests will look really cool.
The spear's awesome. I think the whole thing is a good vibe. I'm super into that. I think that's cool. Really good. And the little camel. Is it a camel? Is it a horse? Is it a donkey?
It's a llama.
It's a cow llama.
Is it a llama?
I don't know, but it looks cool, whatever it is.
The shape of its head and neck and stuff feels very llama-y.
Imagine if this is damage 10 on the charge, you'd be alarmed.
Boom.
Hey-o.
But yeah, I don't mind this model being so detailed because it's clearly a character. But
if this is an alpaca, I don't think this is an alpaca.
It's got horns, you piece of shit. What the fuck?
A conky? Is it conky? He's an AOS unique named character. I think that they've said that there's two build versions on this.
Kit, yeah.
Yeah, there's a dual kit. So this guy is guy a special character?
Who's this?
Special character. It's a wizard.
He kind of looks like a swordsmaster, but with a different stick, and he'll be sold separately at a much higher
he'll be
price.
A wizard. 21.50 each.
Yes, 21.50 for this one stick.
Is he out litter picking with his stick?
Yeah, it looks like it.
We've got to fix the Broken Realms, guys.
It's a grabber.
Listen,
he struggles to pick things off the floor, so he needs his grabber.
Say what you like about the Lumineth dudes, though. They look fucking min. They look cool. Maybe it's the helmets. Maybe it's the fact that they look more like a militarized force than some of the other stuff that we've seen released. I
have to ask, which way is this guy turning? As a model.
He's turning to his left.
He's turning to his left. So why is the hair going that way? Is it meant to
wind?
go that way?
The wind, yeah.
The wind.
I can't attribute everything to the fucking wind.
It's a pegging stick.
I feel like everything needs to be going in the same direction, so I hope it is.
Oh my god!
Candle.
There are some really silly models that Goonhammer are tweeting out that they've got pictures of.
So this lore master actually popped up in the Realm-lords book when they launched. More evidence.
September, yeah.
Chopped in, Realm-lords book being chopped in half. So Captain Brianblood says it's a bit confusing pose-wise. Tom, good shout there. It looks like better with sword pointing down at the enemy. I feel like the swords are a bit big for the models. I thought that about the swordmasters as well. Like they're just a bit chunky.
If we're looking at that model there specifically, look at the size of the hilt.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The hilt is the issue. I don't think it's the actual blade. I think it's
two-handed blade, right?
That hilt is
not bastard sword.
This is fucking stupid, and I hate everything about it.
Yeah, this is them doing that thing that we talked about earlier. Oh, we can do these fancy posed models with things jumping off stuff.
How little material can we use
to
attach one bit of a model to the other bit of a model? Ah, yes.
You have to buy a twice as deep, really useful box just for the one model that will be on a spring in there, and it will snap because it will just wiggle a little bit in the car.
Almost immediately.
To produce that, that's impressive. But it doesn't, just because something is impressive and difficult to do, doesn't mean you have to fucking do it all the time.
It's not, but can I just point out that it's not impressive? Like you keep talking about this feat, like it doesn't come as a single piece. Like you stick that to fucking together. Like it just
but if it's so thin, it just won't work.
Yeah, but my point is that contact point is as thin as, I don't know, like probably as thin as like a shoulder, like a wrist to. Like, there's some very thin contact points generally anyway, but it's going to break all the time.
How thin that thing on his back is.
You are?
It depends how thin that thing on his back is, right? I can't really tell from this angle.
Yeah, the thing they don't consider is that it will break. Like, not everyone's will break. Some people look after, but a lot of people's models, I think, of this, if they buy it, will break. And repairing it is going to be a massive issue for people. Because like, sometimes if something snaps, you can like pin it and glue it back together. But that is going to be really, really difficult to repair.
None of the sculptors
does snap.
Yeah. None of these sculptors have been through Manchester Airport.
They need to design it so that you can have predetermined slots to magnetize that person onto the other person. If
someone in the chat suggested actually having this twin model be like you're able to base both of them on a base. I quite like that idea. I thought that would look quite cool.
I feel like this worked on the Celeste thing because it was like a demon and its herald, whereas this is just fucking weird.
And she has 3 points of connecting to his backpack thing, so there is actually got some stability, but even still
looks daft. Like,
I mean, the Swordmaster pose is cool, but like it's almost like the awesome Swordmaster dude on foot is almost like you don't see him because there's the lady on top. Although I do really like the little owl. Big fan of the little owl.
It could have been two separate things to me, and I would have been happy.
Ooh.
Now.
Man with fancy lantern. Reading
book.
I don't know.
Man who reads scroll.
What, a scroll that's floating?
Ooh.
A floating scroll.
Stick, isn't he?
What? No,
his feet are hanging off the air as well.
Why is he on stilts?
He's on a little clog stilt thing.
Why is he on stilts?
What the hell?
Why? What is the purpose?
I don't know how I feel about this model.
He's
got
flying.
to walk heel toe, hasn't he? Otherwise he trips over.
Like flying. It looks like he's on stilts.
Oh, Owen's cracked it. There's the FAQ. He's got it.
He's had it all along.
Fuck.
About the right size as well, you know. Just throw 400 points. All right,
it's Lamplighter from The Boys is also another good joke. Good hat. He's got a strong hat game in this.
No, it's not a good hat. It's a fucking terrible hat.
Ridiculous. What it is.
It's got a hat, and then it's got like another couple of hats on it, and then it's got a final hat on the top of the hat.
This is not my final hat.
I think he's meant to be flying, right? Or like floating at least, and I think that's what we're looking at. I think this guy looks pretty cool. The hat's a bit weird, but I like. I mean, that's the whole range.
I don't think I'd ever buy this model unless it was Giga broken. You know what I mean? Like, when you look at a model, you think, "I will never run this. I will run this if it's good in my army, or I would just run this all the time because it looks cool."
Yeah.
I feel like it's in the middle. Like, whereas the previous one, I would just never touch with a barge pole. Doesn't matter how.
No. Oh, this guy looks amazing!
I've seen this. This is bloody awful.
Oh
this is brilliant! Shut up, man. This is what you don't like. This.
Oh my god!
Look how long his head is. Again, he's an elf, but holy shit, dude!
I am really into this.
He's gonna break his neck with the size of those fucking arms.
No, I'm loving this. John, what do you think?
It's Kid Goku. It's the Journey to the West. They've just gone full circle in kind of what they were trying to be inspired by, and I'm just like, that base is just asking to break. They need to stop selling those bases.
Oh yeah, whatever. Yeah, they're all going to break. That's fine.
No, but those bases are just such a small little lip that it sticks the entire model on. It's just like they're such a dumb. Like, just bring back the old stems. They weren't great either, but at least you could.
What I don't understand about this model is that they've got a model that is actually flying in midair, and they've got a model with two characters on, where one model is jumping off the other person's head, and they've got a horse who's jumping off a rock. Why haven't they put him on something? Why have they got a stem for him?
Yeah, I know. I see.
Surely there could be a pillar or a tree.
I like the cloud guy. I like this banner guy as well. The banner guy's cool.
Yeah, banner guy's cool. Although that banner is enormous.
I like how strong that banner guy must be, because based on the wind whipping the top of the banner with those little strands, that's going to be pushing. That's a lot.
I might be tempted to buy that just to get the banner, just to put on my display board.
Okay. Nick, what do you think of the banner?
It's pretty boring. Just banner bearer, isn't it? It's nothing exciting, I think.
Yeah.
His hat's pretty fancy.
His hat is fancy. But
again, you were saying he needs to be strong to hold that banner against the wind. Imagine that hat as well. That is catching some wind as well.
Why isn't the banner long
neck,
touching the floor as a result?
Yeah, if anyone's got any points that they can put into the official chat, ask how am I going to put this in my Crusader case without it breaking. But yeah, I mean the whole range looks really nice. Yeah. Okay. The whole range looks really or if not nice, at least super unique. Like, it's going to look amazing on the tabletop, right?
Yeah, it's cool creation. Yeah,
and it will also be super fun for in game. You're going to beat me up with the Cloud Boy. Like, yeah, Cloud Boy's coming. Also, what if he doesn't have the fly keyword? He's gonna, but what if they forget?
I've put a pamphlet in the front of the book again. Is your limited edition codex? We forgot this. Here you go. Great.
I kind of dig the Lumineth aesthetic now, just because I know what it looks like, if that makes sense. I don't hate it.
Shattle
So do you remember how we were crying about Games Workshop releasing the Space Marine book a year after the previous one?
Yeah.
Well, this has been out for the 9th month, so 5 months.
Yeah, this is a new record for second edition.
We know it, and it's still fucking shit. It's actually kind of disgusting. I don't know. I feel so sorry for people like Dan who bought the limited edition book, and then
intern Matt's only just finishing painting that box.
as if we already didn't needed a reason to just not buy books. Now you just completely undermine our confidence that the £30 book I just bought is going to have any kind of longevity.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I think, we can just all say that the books are pointless in buying because they'll be invalidated.
Rob's Warhammer, you'll be fine.
More battle tomes in 9 months than Chaos Dwarfs ever. Wow. Oh, wait, hold on. This is super important.
This is super important. The Gravelord fellas.
Yeah.
Oh, Necrons.
Hey, it's more
Shut up, John. No jokes.
You're a
Those who define me will know me by my torment. Oh, wow. Who did the art for this? It's terrible. That's sad.
We've got some camera panels.
Oh, it's a new Nighthaunt Warband.
Oh, cool. I like that.
It's just one character. It's one character. Those are just chain rasps around it.
Hilarious, by the way. A army that needs a battle tome more than fucking anyone. Also, that was made in about 4.5 minutes because I know what After Effects plugin that was. Big shout out to all my Razor boys in the chat.
I don't know how to feel that.
I like this model, but can we not just say that Nighthaunt need a battle tome way more than they need one new fucking model, right?
I've got an entire Nighthaunt army on this shelf, ready to be assembled and painted. I just can't bring myself to do it because the book looks like pain to play.
It is a bit of a pain. Were the chain rasps just existing sculpts? Yes.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, because it was the sword guy. I recognised him. Okay. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just one character. Those were just normal chain rasps.
What? This is it?
Yeah, one character.
This is the release. One character.
And its rules will be in Broken Realms, so you have to buy that book just for the one data sheet. If you like.
Or I could just wait 2
Or
months
just
for
use
my
the app.
codex to come out,
Yeah.
and then wait another 2 months for the next codex to come out, and then
Do you know
we'll
what?
just buy
It's
that.
really, it's honestly really frustrating, like watching these sometimes, because it's awesome that there's a new model, and it's great. But it is frustrating, like with their release and support system, that they really don't like get the vibe, like, and it's like I don't know. It's like they give you
Read the
I don't know,
room.
they give you a cake, and they give you a cake after having kicked you in the dick for like 3 years. They're like, dick kick. Here's a cake.
It's all right.
And
You've got some cake.
you're like, I like cake, but stop kicking me
But
in
I
the
don't
dick.
like dick kicking. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
release a
can't focus on
Nighthaunt book.
enjoying it when my balls hurt this much.
Yeah. Games Workshop, shut up and give us your money. Correct. That is what they say.
Yeah.
Have a friend who.
Oh, we've got another video.
Oh,
That was very
shit.
quick.
Shut
Well,
up.
the
We
last
couldn't
one
talk
they
about
made
that
in
one
about 2
character for
minutes.
very long.
Age of Sigmar
Trying
again.
to focus, Rob. Shut up.
Okay, this is darker.
Age of Sigmar gets so much attention.
Shut up, Nick.
So
Yeah,
frustrating.
people-
Oh, it's a
Hey,
guy
it's
with
a
a
space
sword.
marine.
It's a lightning
There we
boy. Goddess. None shall question his faith. Again, really, really quickly put together book.
Oh, look at him. Superhero landing.
Superhero landing.
Someone
It's
obviously watched Deadpool and went, this is a cool thing. Let's do that on all our models. Instead of a rock.
Honestly, it looks like
That
Landing on
looks so
Sue.
silly,
That's
and that's
very
perfectly on
rubbish.
theme, but I don't know what it is.
that's going to take like 2 minutes before someone's like Photoshop someone pegging him in that pose. That's just, they've set themselves up for that. That's not my fault. That's the
Two
first thing I
tracks.
saw.
I'm so glad we released Rob from Warhammer TV so he could say shit like that on the internet.
It's a cool looking model though. Let's just say
I'm not massive fan of it.
That's basically a Space Marine Primarch.
it's
Yeah, but what is it?
is
Who
that
is
Joe
he?
Biden?
I don't know what it is.
Who is
Lord
he?
Celestin.
Oh,
Is
oh,
it? I
oh,
thought
it's
it was
the Lord
Celestin.
So
Celestin.
it's just so
He's
it's
got
just
the
a
cloak thing, hasn't he?
He's
it's
a
just
special
Space Marine
character.
captain.
Yeah, it's Rogel Dawn.
Release a new captain.
No, well, yes and no. Like I actually think of it
He's in
more
the
as
books, isn't he?
think of it more as like Mephiston, or like he's more like he's the leader of a sub faction.
The only reason you know that is because you're an Age of Sigmar Giga nerd. I have no idea what this is.
Yeah,
I
of
just
course.
saw like some pictures and
Is he
a shitty quote.
Is it
Yeah,
another
well-
Hammer to Sigmar character? Or is it just all locked into the same?
No. It's not.
Post.
It's not. It's not. It's not Hammers of Sigmar.
Oh, cool, because
which
he's
is
got
the
some
important
silver
one.
armor, hasn't he? Which is the different bit.
Yeah. So he's not.
Cool.
So that.
Is
so
this
that's
like
actually-
Gulliman in the old
Oh,
role?
he's the silver guys instead. Nice.
Whatever.
Oh, silver guys are cool.
There
What
are
they
more
called?
than just the silver guys. Guard of Steel Soul is what he is. So thank you
Nine.
very much. You can always rely on this stream unending negativity apathy for new models. Thanks, Gilly. I like the model.
Hey! I was very positive about a lot of the Lumineth.
Yeah, the
Which means
terrain.
that when I
weirdly.
call it shit,
that was
you know
the
I'm not
weirdest
serious.
bit. Why were you into the terrain? That's so
Yeah.
fucking weird.
Like, people always do this, say, "Oh, well, Games Workshop just loves to bash on fucking Games Workshop." But I just spent like the last 15 minutes raving about the terrain piece, but everyone only remembers, yeah, this model's dumb.
Well, I
So
like this
I
model.
remember.
I like this model. And actually, we talked about this on the stream earlier this
Oh, it's
week,
fine.
that one of the keyboard bits really for Age of Sigmar is we haven't had enough Stormcast love over the past 3 years. So it'd be nice to see. But the point is, like, I don't know which one of you said it. Like, who is this guy?
I don't know.
Nailed it. They didn't do in the narrative, or they didn't do in this preview. They didn't explain to us what the fuck was going on, which is a massive shame, right? Because you guys
want
now are
people
like,
to care for him, right, and want to then use him in the games because of
Yeah.
the story.
yeah.
If his story is him being broken as fuck, then I like it.
Yeah, and that's not like this.
That will probably be the case in the book because I'm presuming that the Nighthaunt character we saw and then him will be in the next Realm book.
So
Are they
he's
going to
a-
put
so-
them in a kill team, and then the Stormcast guy just happens to fuck up the Nighthaunt guy every single time the kiddies play with him?
Yeah.
They'll kill each other. They'll both get reforged or reborn, and so there'll be no consequences. It just sounds like a 40k kind of
Yay!
Psychic Awakening book to me.
So Scott B, he is the leader of the Hallow Knights, and this really
Oh,
puts so. Not to say that Honest Wargamer is going to become a Valrak clone where all I do is talk about the launch of new Primarchs for different Stormcast chambers.
Can we stop
But
bullying
it-
Valrak?
but it is.
It's
so
getting
easy.
their chapter master, isn't it?
Oh, hold on, new video. Yes,
Fuck's sake, not another one.
everyone,
Oh.
very yes.
This
It is.
is
Oh,
not
no.
40K.
An
Very
undead
No,
sad.
this is the
graveyard.
terrain.
Are you afraid
Who's
of the
made
dark?
these videos? Why did they? What is that fun? They've had a 5-year-old.
Spooky.
Let's go on to font and download a font quickly.
This is awful. That is a sweet fucking model, man.
That is a cool model.
That is fucking... Oh, look at that.
So I believe Colonel Cabbage was saying it was going to be that sort of style character. He was right.
That looks really good. That's really cool.
The base is a little bit...
White Lord. White Lord
on
on Nightmare. He's still got a stone, don't worry. But it's not a Blood Knight. That is right. Holy fuck, that's dope.
Yeah.
Flee
That's
from
cool.
Terror.
The White King.
This is awful. The whole...
Yeah, but don't worry about the video. Worry about the model. You don't have to worry about the video. It's fine.
Yeah, but he's a videographer,
videos.
isn't he? It's his thing. It's like me getting upset about artwork. It's my thing.
Okay. But yeah, Mounted White King. Man, he looks wicked.
Yeah, it does. Looks cool.
He looks wicked.
Yeah, look at that model. Look at that. That's really nice.
And do you know what? It's got like a real old Hammer vibe to it as well. Like it doesn't seem like...
Yeah, well, it's based on the previous model that they did. I think Colonel Cabbage tweeted at. He might have even put the link.
Yeah, on the steed, wasn't
chat.
it?
So it's an old. Yeah, it's a very old.
It's still available as well.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like for balance, I must also criticise the unaerodynamicness of his helmet. He criticised the elves for it. Yeah. This guy's got the same issue, but he looks cooler because he's a cool undead king dude.
I'm up for that. That it's classical. It reminds me of the helmet of I think it was the original Warhammer Quest. Like there's a whole piece where they're against like a skeleton king guy and he sits on a throne. He's wearing a helmet like that, from what I remember. So cool.
Yeah. Like Tristan doesn't like it. I like it. I think it looks good.
Cool. It's because it's not Egyptian looking enough for him. That's why.
I mean, but ultimately, like, see, here's what's really interesting about this model compared to the Lumineth stuff. Lumineth is obviously like a grandiose reimagining of High Elves, right? This is a updated model.
Sympathetic.
Yeah.
Like an updated model of like basically old Warhammer Fantasy Battle style. And actually, as soon as you look at it, you think, cool. Like that's really well done, I would say. Yeah. It feels well done. But then you're like, like I've seen this. Do you know what I mean?
Like it doesn't have to be like new. You can just tweak
I'm trying to compliment. I'm trying to complement the Lumineth stuff in a way.
Right. Yeah.
Right. What I'm trying to say is that like the Lumineth stuff, while wild and probably Marmite, like we talked about, is like at least intriguing in a way. I think this is intriguing, and it would be super fun to paint. You could do some really cool stuff with oil washes and other stuff on this model. I think that would be really fun. And I probably would change the bat wing helmet. I'm not a huge fan of that. But, like, I think it's pretty brilliant. But then you just kind of stop there and you're like, oh, okay.
Do you think it's kind of brave in a way that they don't feel like they need to necessarily reimagine everything they make a new model for?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It's a departure, really. They normally reimagine something quite wild. And this isn't that. This is an update. And I think that that's a huge positive. Like in some ways, and it gives the audience a way to like react to both. You're like, how do you guys feel? This is just an update of some models we've done previously. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
They've done a little bit with 40k, haven't they? Like Mephiston, not a massive change, or like even Lilith for the Drakari. It's not a massive change. It's just bring it into plastic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that's all you need. They don't need to reinvent something.
Well, no, I don't know. I'm saying no. I think some of the updates, KO, incredible. Like Lumineth, whether or not you love them or hate them, like the turtles are brilliant. The Eidolon's beautiful. Yeah. Like the updates are always like imaginative and creative. Whether or not that sings to you personally, because it's the first time. Like the first, like when you engage with elves, let's say, and dwarves, you did that like 20, 30 years ago. Whenever you first experienced them. Same with like an undead mounted dude, same, like that would have been years and years ago. First time Rue Archers you've ever dealt with Rue Archers was like literally 2 weeks ago or whenever the fuck it was. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so you've got to give it time for like, but like Owen said, it's like a nostalgia trip in some ways, which I think is really excellent. I think it's good. This dude is ready for my friend Streaking Grime. This guy is so ready for some Streaking Grime.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Fucking love a bit of Streaking Grime.
Do you think this is the same army entirely as the vampire stuff? Do you think Gravelords is going to be kind of different elements, or will these be little subfaction type of things almost?
I don't really know. I just don't play Age of Sigmar. I just think surely you could put it to lots of different things, right? Because it's a Grand Alliance, so surely it doesn't matter too much. I don't if we don't already know about the story, like we already knew about the story for the Stormcast guy. I'm assuming that he's just going to be some kind of generic dude rather than some kind of
we do know the story. He's in the he's in the Black Library fiction. He already has stories that you can read, so he's a very much like we got another video, so I'll tell you after.
Okay.
Oh, we can
More Age of Sigmar stuff. More Age of Sigmar stuff.
No, these guys got
nipples.
I love that mask. That mask is awesome.
That is a weird boy. That is being reappropriated as a weird boy.
That's Wolverine.
He's also a cool.
He's very naked.
So basically, we got the X-Men here.
Tooth dagger. Oh, he's very naked. Oh my word! Look at how nude they are.
They're my favorite ones of the thing. They're my favorite ones.
You like these the most?
Fucking sweet. Yeah, they look the
Makes
best.
me want to do Snakebite Orcs in 40k again.
I fucking love that shaman. Oh.
I think that's a really good look at like what we might eventually see for new bone splitters.
They look great.
Yeah, Gitley's correct. They definitely have increased the rate on the previews on this stream. I think that's a much better decision. Like this is much punchier.
More reveals per minute. Yeah,
we're enjoying this more, right? Like well done on the speed. Yeah.
Oh, they're talking about the Gravelord guy.
Oh, so what? The Stormcast guy?
Yeah, no, the Gravelord guy. You said the Gravelord guy had some story from Black Library.
No, I was talking about the Stormcast guy.
Oh, I was talking about the Gravelord. Okay.
Okay, perfect. All right, let's keep talking about these guys then. They're pretty brilliant. The Archer's amazing. Like the Bone Splitters haven't had like an updated release in a long time, and if this is why we see, they're much thicker than the Orcs in previous years.
Right. So the Wolverine one is calf. What's the lower leg bit? Is that calf? I don't know. It's very big.
He's very chunky.
They all do have that. They're all very toned.
Yeah.
They're bigger than previous Orcs. Is the point I'm saying?
It's pretty massive.
Yeah.
Are they 30? Are those 40mm bases or 32s? Do you think? Because they look like they're on different sizes.
The Wolverine looks like he's on a 40. Everyone else is on 32s.
The bow looks amazing.
So they're about the same. They might fit nicely with the current guys as well.
Yeah. The Shaman stick is great as well. Really good. Really nice reimagining of this range, I think. Like and obviously the exciting part is that at some point that means a whole Bone Splitter release, like tuning along these. Not that I think the Bone Splitters models hold up quite well now.
It's just nice to have some variation, right? Because it's that with the Age of Sigmar issue where there's not the depth of the range, perhaps for each of the armies.
Yeah. Having some variation, well, obviously. I mean, think about the amount of stuff that Lumineth have, and imagine that being stuck into Bone Splitters would be sweet. I mean, I think that looks great. Nick, you're off now, aren't you?
Yeah, I need to go. So sorry, guys, but yeah, hopefully the rest of the reveal stream goes well. Big love to everyone in the chat. Thanks for tuning in.
Sweet, thanks, Nick.
Yeah.
Take care, man.
Bye, Nick.
See you guys later.
It's off for time with his fan, I suppose.
Yeah. I really like these. I think these guys look really sweet. Like, ultimately, like, Age of Sigmar had a great day because there's a whole bunch of new models being released for it. Whether you love them or whether or not you love them, it's pretty great. And the reveal stream's pretty great as well because it's fast, I think is the important point, which we're all about. Yeah. I was just looking at Claw Guy and saw a 40. I think he's a 40. Surprised we've not seen the Rue Riders in today's preview. I agree, actually. That's a good point. We didn't see close-ups of the Rue Riders. Yeah. Do orcs not have toenails? Great question. I don't think so. But they do have... But they've got no toenails on this, but they do have fingernails. Yeah. Oh, hold on. I need you guys in the chat. Sorry. They couldn't hear you at all.
Yeah, because it was Nikos' source you were getting our audio from.
Yeah. You guys couldn't hear it. Apologies. There we go. I sorted it out, gents. So we were talking about the fact that... you were talking about the price of these warbands, John?
Yeah, so they're $17.50 they started at, so I think they're now at $25 over the 4 years they've gone up to. So 4 models for 25 quid. It's all right. Especially, like, think about how much the resin fine cast Weird Boy is at 40k. It's probably similar sort of pricing, and you get other guys.
Yeah, and these don't melt in the sun, so that's always a bonus.
They look great. They look great. I like the little snake. I like the little snake that the shaman is holding. I think that's a good vibe. And I would love it if they all had really ornate, weird masks, although maybe just being on the characters. They look really good.
The bottom of his staff's got a manticore tail or a scorpion tail as well. Nice little touches like that.
Oh yeah, that's a good vibe. Yeah, I like that a lot.
Apparently, Orruks absolutely have claw-like toenail scriver, but just absent here for some reason.
Yeah, they normally they look like claws because I've painted enough of them over the years.
Maybe just
what are you talking about? Are you talking about Age of Sigmar Orruks?
That's the thing. They're slightly different, the Orruks, but normally they don't have nipples on them.
Orruks don't have. I don't think any of the Orruk range have any bare feet.
They do for the bone splitters.
Oh, bone splitters. So bone splitters have toenails.
I think so. I got some models, but I don't know where I exactly have put them to check.
Interesting.
So a weird knob. Let's have a look at his feet.
Oh, they do. That's okay. The chat have got you. None of the new ones do, though.
No, the weird knob shaman doesn't have toenails.
Toe splitters. It's a little toe splitters.
His fingers don't really either. That's interesting.
A weird amount of Age of Sigmar armies don't wear many clothes. Correct.
It normally
and I love
it.
The best, I love it. It's
save,
all destruction, right? And I love it. Okay,
it's normally the safest option. Normally, the least, the less clothing you're wearing, the better.
Oh, we've got a battle mat. Okay.
So they're doing a new Underworlds starter. So I thought they were basically canning Underworlds by the fact that it was slowly dying a death as a sort of a system.
Well, actually, let's talk about this for a moment. Let's look at the packaging there. Over 200,000 Warhammer Underworld games sold, stuck onto the label there.
People play this game, I swear.
To give that context, though, every shop that has the basic range each year was required to stock whichever core set they had for this. So they were at least selling 4 copies per shop.
so we're all 100% in the same boat that number is padded in some way. That might just be every Warband in addition is counted as one of their games. I doubt they haven't defined what they mean by games sold. It could be anything, I reckon. Stick on the back says 100,000 sets have been played once.
And that's 2 easy build sets that were 10 quid a sprue each, and that's all the cards for them done as warbands. So that is literally them rehashing stuff. I think the boards aren't new either.
See, do you know what? I'm gonna stop right now. I'm never gonna knock Underworlds, and let me tell you why. Yeah. Because I get loads of new models for Age of Sigmar, and sometimes, and you also get we effectively have had. I've seen it in the chat said several times before when I've been live. We've talked about regiments of renown, so a unit that's famous, and you effectively get that. So Zarbag's Gits,
they're playable as well to some extent, right?
Sometimes they're playable, and actually. That's really, really good. That's boss.
Sometimes
and the pace of getting kind of a good few warbands a year compared to say a Warhammer Quest game where you get some cool models, but you look at Silver Tower, some of the stuff that was in that you kind of were like, oh, maybe they'll do stuff featuring around that stuff, never came to fruition. At least with these things, because they're a little warband, you know that each faction's going to eventually maybe get some love with it, which is quite nice.
Yeah. I guess so. Wasn't okay. It's just a reboxing though, isn't this as well?
It feels like it because that's the Castigator's easy build, and those are the horse-headed Nighthaunt are. They're the 2 easy build 10 quid sets. So that's not much stretch. They're not the chain rasp, the other ones. I can't remember what they're called.
Just like to point out and shout out Prop Joe, if none of you know what this means, but Orkman has got 2 warbands in his list.
Is Orkman winning? Yes, he is, isn't he?
Yes.
Glaive Rave Stalkers, that's what they are.
Yes, this is what we're here for. Another great video. Vibing on that.
That's a Space Marine fighting a thing.
Don't like that bit. Darkness falls upon the city of Ulfkanan. Love this. Love this bit. Do more of this.
Stylized art. Oh. Priestess lady.
Wow, that priestess is awesome. He looks great. Yes.
Oh,
my god, they all look amazing.
Oh, I'm in this. I'm so in for this.
Undead creatures stalk the streets. I'm super into getting this.
You
should get this.
Yeah, I'm going to play it. I'm going to play through it. I want to.
Yes.
Oh,
that was an undead orc. Guy. That was definitely an undead orc. That guy's great. That guy's amazing. He's like a Russian. That guy looks so cool. Is that a giant barbarian orc? Man, that looks baller.
Just hobbied.
I told you there was an orc. I said at the release that there was a fucking orc. Everyone was like, laughed at me. Fuck off, Eddie and Adam. Show us the pictures, right? Like, I said that there was an orc. Everyone was like, no, it's not an orc. Ha ha! Go back and watch the reveal from the last time. I said it was a fucking orc.
Cities, they validated. In cities, there is orcs, isn't there still? Like, in an Order city, they actually have some orcs living in them.
Fucking validated, John. That's what I am.
I know, right?
Is it an orc? It might not be an orc. Hey Dayton, what's going on? Thanks Harrylicious for subscribing. This looks amazing. Big Gonad Zombies expansion. We're all getting this right. This is the exact opposite of fucking everything else. I'm really into this. Tom, what are you vibing? Liking it, not liking it?
I feel like I look at the models and I think they look cool, but you know how sometimes... Well, you know when you watch like a video and you see a model that you can tell looks really nice, but you don't feel excited?
Yeah.
Like, I can appreciate them, and they definitely look cool, but I don't... It's not doing it for me for some reason, and that's entirely an emotional response.
So can I tell you, like, the art got me into it, the models got me into it, the videos got me into it, and then I've seen this fucking mess that I'm looking at right now, and there's zero fucking way I want to play this. Look at all of that bullshit. Yeah. I don't want a single part of that at all.
So they just ruined the entire marketing.
There's a D12 Rob as well.
No, it's not that. It's not that. It's just it's the cardboard. Like, man, like, why couldn't you like just like map out something on like a board or something? It just, oh man, fuck yeah, like whatever.
Oh, fuck no, whatever.
I want the models though. Like, I want the models. I would just throw all of that in the bin. Like, I wouldn't throw it in the bin. I'd keep it in case I played with someone. But like.
Look at that! That's
yes.
Like Rogue Traders and Inquisitor style stuff. You could easily repurpose these for other things.
I love the little hawk. Yeah, they're an amazing set of models.
Is that a Grift Charger she's wearing as a cloak?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, man.
I'm up for that.
So yeah,
standing on a stone as well.
I know that these box games are really good, by the way. In some cases, Blackstone Fortress, Warhammer Quest, some people enjoy playing them. That's what for me personally. Same with Warcry Underband or Underworld, whatever the fuck it's called. Like, whenever I just, as soon as I see like cardboard and a map, like, it just doesn't, like, I want to try and create a setting, right? I want like little cities and other shit to battle in. I don't want. That's a me thing. That's not a you guys thing. Like,
well,
completely.
Look at how Warcry was released with the terrain. If they'd done that sort of style terrain, but made it sort of city street stuff, and then you could have played it on that board. It would have been basically more time though. So I think they're avoiding that.
Yeah. Middle looks like a Space Marine. It does. That's 100% true. But they're phenomenal models. They're phenomenal models. Oh, he's got kind of like a pseudo. I quite like his like plate armor on the Inquisitor style chap, and he's got that kind of like. Cutlass. He's got like some sort of like Spanish, like Turkish vibes going on. Oh, he's got a little earring. I'm digging that. Almost a pirate. Twitch chat. We know we love a good pirate.
That's why it's got gear.
It looks like the kind of sword you could. You'd use that sword if you're on mounted perhaps as well.
Yes, true. 3D print your own tiles. Where for the Nords? That was actually one of my first thoughts. I was like, that would probably what I'd do. I'd 3D print my tiles instead. Because I think that would look really cool, and you could have a more thematic board. Because like when you saw the setting for the video and they were battling it out, and it was like the city and the setting. I'm completely removed from that when I see those cardboard tokens. It just doesn't vibe for me. But that's again a me thing. Have you got a favourite of these three?
I still like the Vampire Hunter with the big gun with the stake underneath, like the underslung stake's just cool, and a big hammer to hammer it home.
I feel like I'm not allowed to pick that.
Go on, Tom, sorry.
I feel like I'm not allowed to pick that because Nikos is not here to call out how aerodynamic the hat is. I'm going to go for the middle one. I really like the pose and the armor. I think that's really cool.
Apparently everyone thinks one on the right looks like me. But in the future, am I going to be a Spanish conquistador?
Are you dyeing your beard in the future then, Rob? Because there's less grey in it.
Wow, rude, 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 rude.
Shots fired.
Yeah, I love the confident Cossack. We have a group in our club that play.
Yeah, Cossack. There we go. That's what I was thinking of. It's like a mounted Cossack.
Yeah, mounted Cossack. Yeah,
he looks like he just like the way his coat even's open and stuff like that. It just feels like he should be on a horse.
He's also got
a horse mounted version.
He's also got that good vibe, hasn't he? Like from not Princess Diaries. What's the other one?
Princess Bride.
My name is Intoya Mataya.
Yeah, Princess Bride.
Yeah.
Princess Bride. Yeah.
Yeah.
Princess Bride. He's got that vibe, hasn't he? They spent a long time on these models, eh?
Well, maybe they've run out of stuff.
Maybe it's the last of it. They did show us a lot of previews and stuff.
Oh, here we go. We got some more. They've done a dwarf a disservice by putting it next to the ogre there, by the way. I feel like that's really harsh. We've just made
so it is an ogre, right?
I think so. Although he's not nearly naked enough for my taste.
Man, that looks so brilliant compared to some of the ogres that have done in the past. There's so much detail in the face. Like that's really fucking good.
I feel like you could put a contrast paint on there and it would actually look like it's meant to be there.
Yeah, man. Like that's actually like really, really, really strong. And again, there's that like they've continued on that Eastern vibe with him as well, with the kind of like plate and fur. I feel.
Yeah. I'm not going to give the elf model any attention because once again it's jumping off a rock and we're just going to not talk about it. In fact, I'm going to get the Chrome.
Yeah, JBM. That's the point. Yeah,
Let me get a notepad file. 1 second.
That is 100% good point. Why he doesn't look like an Age of Sigmar ogre? He doesn't have a gut plate.
There you go.
That's actually fascinating and changes the shape of the model so much. Good shout there. That's amazing.
Right. I've just used a notepad file to block out the elf model, so I don't have to look at it.
Well, the elf model's beautiful.
Oh shit! If I click on the browser, it does it again.
And I'm really, really excited about watching seeing what happens with this Kernothi range that we're seeing here. Like all of the tree elves, because that's going to be the next range, part 3 of 3 books. Maybe it's because he's split off from the mainstream ogre culture and civilized somewhat. That's interesting.
Wait, Rob, can I ask you a question about elves? So we've had the I don't know if they're like water elves and that, right? Yeah. We've had Lumineth. Are they like earth elves? Does that mean we're getting air elves and fire elves at some point?
Yeah, Zenith and Magic are the two you're getting. There's 2 other sets of still Lumineth elves to come.
And she's a Kernothi because they've basically showed her in the week, didn't they?
Yeah. Marcus Rock says that's his favourite. Could just be a big human. Could not be an ogre. And it's interesting to see an ogre, the race, outside of ogres that are
Yeah, it doesn't have it hasn't got the belly plate and stuff like that you always seem to see on them.
Yeah, super good. And the dwarf's an interesting take as well because we're seeing it's a little bit more humanized than some of the Dwarden that we've seen previously. Other than that, it's got a lot of the. Actually, look at the ogre. He's got something around his neck on a chain. Can you guys see? It's a little
like a potion or something.
Yeah, and so the
he's just got an elven gem.
The KO guy's got the same thing on a chain. That's interesting. I wonder what that is.
Oh, these
holy water.
Oh, nice.
I actually really don't like the right model, mate. It looks. I don't know. I'm not a big fan of a right model.
It's a mask, I think, over the face.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it is. But I don't know. I can't get into it.
That beard's going to break.
Thanks to Elron Hubbard for donating 300 bits to the show. It's the honest warmer tumbler.
He's also going to trip over his own beard, and that's really impractical.
I think it's really hard to do dainty and finite models. It's quite easy to do overcomplicated, even really chunky models. I think doing models like that, sometimes it can feel underwhelming because there isn't loads. Thanks, Elron Hubbard, for the bits donation, by the way. And yeah, that Sisters of Sigmar model.
Yeah,
Feared
I like one on the left. That's really nice.
Yeah. It's a nice throwback to it being less, because I think the old Sisters of Sigmar were very armored and looked like Valkyries almost. It was a bit kind of like done. So kind of going this whole nun kind of priestly sort of thing is quite a nice change, right?
I think
because they can't just do the armor because it'd just be a Stormcast, wouldn't it?
I really like the over the top and ostentatious kind of like backpack headgear as well. I think on this model specifically, because it's like she seems more like priestly and like processional. She doesn't feel like she's like kitted out for battle. She's like brought to like pray and do shit, like, you know, that's more ceremonial. So, and again, the pose denotes that as well, right? She's just doing some magic or something. I think it's
she's the support.
Yeah,
I think it is. Yeah, it's showing that there's potentially different roles. They probably play quite different in the game as well.
Yeah.
Oh, bats.
Oh,
Bats.
for fuck's sake.
Bats and rats. Okay.
Bats and rats.
I think we saw this in the Fall of the Necromancer mini game, but was released for Lord of the Rings in like 2007. I'm pretty certain these are the exact same models.
Because the bat swarm and rat swarms are ancient, aren't they? As models,
aren't they? They're called fell bats, right? Oh,
they redid those for Lord of the Rings last year as well.
There we go. Yeah, I remember when they first released, when we were on metal. Cool. Just need to make sure.
I'm not bothered about these at all. Like, I don't care in any way. Does that make sense?
The very big left-hand bat. Imagine if they did a giant one of them that was a big monster for an army. That'd be cool, right?
Oh, look at the zombies. They look cool. And they've all lifted up the grave on top of them. That's a kind of weird feature.
That's so funky.
That's very quirky. It feels like the way they did the Poxwalkers, where they went, right, we need to add some quirkiness so it's not just a zombie.
Yeah, they're also quite, like, they're quite colourful, right?
Yeah.
It's 4 poses.
But it's very artistic rather than just going for something safe. I feel like that's really cool that they actually thought to do that. It's not my taste, but I can appreciate the fact that they've done it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. I think it's an interesting, having all the graves on top is weird. Twitch chat, what do we think? They're all pierced with stakes through the graves.
Yeah, it's a way of guaranteeing they stay dead, because how do you stop a vampire? You stake all the corpses.
Okay. Great conversion potential. They're all staked with the grave.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's all hold. Yeah. That's why it's there.
To hold them in.
Oh, hello. So these skeletons that they're showing now are very much, you could see where they did the sepulchral guard for Underworlds, and that was obviously their way of testing the waters with it. This is following on from that. They are great. And the helmets and the armor make me think of less Western styles of armor as well.
They're like what are the name? The Easterlings in Lord of the Rings. That kind of stuff. Yeah. Yeah,
it's nice that they're not just Western again.
They're more like Persian or Parthian, right?
Something like that.
It appears to be windy in this realm, 100%. I think that this is really good. I think these look great.
Persian,
imagine a unit of them in a tabletop game.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah,
like 30 or 40 of these in a block. This is
if
really
that's what you
cool.
get with vampires for the Gravelords equivalent, sort of, if this is their troop version, I'm alright with that. If that's the battle line, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, fucking absolutely brilliant. These guys.
That is an orc. That is an orc.
11 out of 10. Rob wins a prize. It's a fucking orc. I told. What did I tell you, motherfuckers? I said that's an orc, and then Nathan said that's not an orc. Yes. 11 out of 10 points for Rob. That's an orc. Man, that looks. It's a fucking orc.
Hello.
Hi, John. One second, John. Let me get you.
We got Jonathan. All right, Jon, how you doing?
It's getting better and better.
Oh no, he's already drinking. Great.
Yeah. Jonathan has joined us. Jonathan Etland has joined us in the chat to keep reviewing. John, how do you feel about a new orc, but an undead one?
What? I haven't even been watching the review. So
does he have nipples? That's the question.
I need to get up to speed.
All right, you get up to speed. You get up to speed. And Tom, what do you think of that? The undead orc Twitch chat.
They look very slender for orcs and very tall. Have they changed the aesthetic of the orcs just for this game?
Maybe, but like, think about it. Maybe we're going to see different types of orcs. Like the savage orcs were quite low, right? Maybe these are like. Someone said maybe it's an ogre, like an undead
just
ogre.
For you, Rob.
I'm not entirely sure what these are. Are these Vargulfs or something?
They're harpies.
They're vampire-y. They've
got really long hair again. Like it feels like they've given one sculptor
man, they look cool though.
Control and just said go, and this is what we've got.
This is Thundercats. It's the 2 kids in Thundercats.
They look.
There's just 2 kids in Thundercats, the twins, man.
Yeah, Wiley Kit and Wiley Cat.
Yeah.
Go on, John.
No.
You let
Know your
know.
stuff.
I know.
Everyone in the Twitch chat, this is Mr. Jonathan Atland, one of our co-hosts from over in Sweden.
Hello,
and
everybody. Hello,
he's jumped in.
Man.
He's a gorgeous man and very funny. So, amazing
you know
sculpts.
Do you know what happened in Sweden? This is sick, man.
Tell me.
There's a guy called Jesper, who is I don't know. I'm just gonna translate it directly from Swedish. He's like a fire soul, like for Age of Sigmar.
Yeah.
And he's gone full fucking mad, man. So he's started up a company specifically for Age of Sigmar, for playing Age of Sigmar.
Wow.
And it's not like just bought the company license. He's properly fucking invested, man. Like I think it's 1.7 million Swedish or something. So that's what is it? 170k pounds.
How does that relate to the dudes?
What dudes?
And that's why he's here. Right, so there's tell us more about that later. I'm excited. A new Vargulf in the chat on the reveal.
Oh, that's nice, man.
He looks really good, right?
Yeah, so much better than the last one.
Yeah, and you can make a cool smash bat out of him. That's really good, actually. That's really quite impressive. I like the weird clawed wings. Yeah, and then again that captain guy of the skeleton warriors is also awesome. But I like the skeleton warriors we've seen before. I think that's really good. And then obviously everyone's loving that model on the far right, the Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, yeah, it's brilliant.
It looks like
Yellow.
I think from one of those Dark Souls games, like the new one where you have Gaunt's Revenant from the Ashes, maybe.
Yeah.
Seen that?
Yeah. Oh, also interesting. Now, kind of makes more sense if you guys look. If you look, he's pulling up the zombie out of the ground, but with that bit of like wood. Interesting to see whether or not he's the guy who like stakes them at the same time.
He's the grave digger. He's the undigger. He digs them up, type of thing.
What's
The reverse of a grave digger.
Yeah, the grave lifter. Yeah,
there's no robbing. There's no malicious intent for stealing.
You don't have to have malicious intent, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Still taking something out of the grave.
So someone in the chat mentioned about Necromunda. The last time they did a box set for that was like 175 quid. I don't think this is going to be that pricing because that had terrain in it.
Right.
It's an interesting one because Blood Bowl has a ton of models and that was only 85. So I'm curious to see what they're going to do with this one. Is it something they're going to try to pitch as something for people to buy and like everyone to buy, like one in their club?
They're doing a book for it as well, right? Like a novel.
It kind of makes sense, right? To pitch this like low, because like, and my reasoning is because if you play any of like the hero guys, because there's like there's like a Sylvaneth guy, like a Kanothi, like a KO, like there's a bunch of different models, and that might be you're like well, I've got this one carriage on Overlords guy, might as well buy 3 Ironclads. Yeah, I might as well.
I think it'll be 95.
I just think it should be cheap because it's just plastic and cardboard.
Same. I agree, John.
Yeah.
Like if you look at other products that are in plastic and cardboard, they aren't that expensive compared to this crack.
Yeah, but it is expensive. John? What do you think of these two models here?
They are great. I haven't seen the Wolf Boy.
I haven't seen the Wolf Boy.
He looks
He's a vampire, isn't he?
He is a vampire.
Fangs.
He's got the fangs.
Maybe it's like a homage to White Wolf, you know, the company that made Vampire.
The Masquerade.
Yeah, amongst others, yeah.
He's got his chest out as well.
He's also got that Eastern like Cossack vibe as well, right? Like we've seen from most of this range.
Yeah, he probably got a vial of poison as well in his pocket, so he's going to rub on people's doorknobs.
I think that might be some sort of Cossack burn, I think. I'm not really sure.
Cossacks used to have horses, though.
What?
Cossacks should have horses, though, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, eventually they get off the horse.
It's like a space wolf and a Vostroyan fucked, and this is the result.
Yes. I liked his chip blade. I think that's quite a fun little feature on the model. I think the
tells
model
a bit about his character, though, doesn't it?
It does. Also, it makes me super excited about the Gravelords range as well, because like this is quite a step away from like the no, this is in that vampire count range, but it's a lot more like feral, obviously, than we've seen in some cases. And I think that would be fun to see what a unit of his sort of vampires would look like, right?
I mean, back in the day, they used to have bloodlines, didn't they? So
yeah,
all right.
It feels like a natural step for that, doesn't it?
On the Warhammer community page, apparently there's a what's in the box thing going on. So in this box, you get 8 models, so 8 heroes as they describe them. You get a rulebook and a quest book, 42 hostiles, 10 objective markers, a war scrolls book, counters and tokens, 28 dice, board tiles, gateways, and lich gates, a secret envelope, plus all the cards you need to play.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay,
this is going to sell out
models and
within
10
2 minutes. This will be sold out.
Yeah, this is going to sell out. This is super going to sell out. And you have to remember, Games Workshop's marketing strategy as well is they don't make enough for everyone. They just are like, we want to sell 100,000 of these. Obviously, not including Warhammer Underworlds, which they definitely didn't sell 200,000 of. We want to sell like 100,000 of these. This is how many we're going to make, and then after that, that'll be done. So this
Thank
is
God
be...
there's China, man. Thank fucking God there's China.
So this is going to sell out super quick, right?
Yeah.
8 heroes, 42 hostiles, 10 objective markers.
Yeah, there it
Scrolls
is.
book.
So,
That objective market is like a unit champion for a skeleton unit, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. The little hang guy, I think.
They smashed
The
it.
secret envelope's going to have a card in it that tells you the end of the game, basically.
So it's basically Cluedo.
So the end envelope for Blackstone
like
Fortress basically says, you're now immortal. Good job.
What is like a Machiavelli game? Or what? Like where you can betray people and stuff? We have to find out what the bad guy is.
Yeah, we have to
like
find out. Yeah. It would be so cool if you like... Because it's quite a disparate collection of allies, right? In the hero section. Because, they're mainly from Order. I'm fascinated by the wizard, though. With the long beard, because I don't know what faction he's from. Yeah, I'm not sure.
It's not clear, is it? And that's quite cool that it isn't so black and white.
Wasn't a Stormcast in there? Anywhere?
No, Stormcast wasn't in there, no.
This is so old world, man. This is so old world.
I wonder if it's even relatable to Age of Sigmar, if that makes sense. Like, I know it says Warhammer Age of Sigmar, but I wonder if they haven't really created like its own pocket dimension, sort of like they're like, yeah, this kind of happens, but we'll never talk about it again. Does that make sense? It's kind of
like with Blackstone Fortress, where that's like it's 40k stuff, but you're never going to see a Zote in a tabletop game.
Yeah, exactly. Like Blackstone Fortress, where you'd see nothing, right? If that makes because in Blackstone, if John, tell people about that.
So like all the characters and stuff, you can use them in the armies, but like why would you have 2 rattling snipers?
Tell you what,
points?
I know, man. I know.
You take a Grek, and that's about it.
Because I'm playing Kill Team now, and those fucking rattling snipers are the hot stuff, man. They are so good.
Yeah, but not in 40k.
Yeah, but in 40k, it's plastic models then that you get to use as the current models, which are still sold as metal for rattlings, for example. So it's an excuse to get some cool models to use as proxies for stuff. Like there's there was the what are they called? The carnivores, the crew in Blackstone Fortress. You could use that as a shaper, for example. So it had another purpose. So like this whole thing we said before, where you could get characters from Underworlds or something like this to use in your armies. So maybe there's that kind of element to it as well.
Yeah, but Sarbag is still Sarbag, man. I fucking heard you.
I know. I said it's tricky.
He's a named character, man. He's got the possibility to show his best.
Well, so they've started to put the Warcry underbands into the main battle tomes, which is an important point, because I think actually that's a huge positive, because I think no matter what happens with these models, unlike Silver Tower where some of the models just went away, never to be seen again, I'm really hoping we see these models like integrated into battle tomes and then stick there forever. That would be sweet. Ultimately, Warhammer Quest as a game is one of those interesting things where you're either one of those people at home who collects these games like Blackstone Fortress and all the others, and you buy them and you play them a lot, or you play them a little bit. So it's either that, which is great for you, or it's a delivery system for a bunch of cool new minis. And I guess that's kind of like where we're at, like with it. I feel like it feels like it's more of a delivery system for cool new minis more than it is the game played by people.
It's like the Mariana, man. Like the Mariana, man.
How do you mean?
Like an entry drug. And then you're fucking stuck with minions all over your apartment, staring at your eye. And you haven't painted them, and they know it, and you know it, and you feel like shit because of it. So,
if it's anything like Blackstone, loads of people local to me bought it and went, "Oh, I'm going to paint these. We'll play through a game of it, and it'll be really cool." One group of my club mates played one round of it and then never went back to it because it was the choice always of, do we play this game or do we play with our armies we spent hundreds of hours on?
Yeah,
it's not even a question really at that point, is it?
I just bought a Blackstone Fortress actually, but it's stuck in Germany. Brexit. So it's been there for like 2 weeks now. But I just bought it solely for the purpose of Kill Team.
Yeah, for some cool models for something like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
Like the Chaos, the Traitor Garden stuff in it are just cool models, right?
Yeah.
And that half works. That's the next under Warband as well, fully from that. Also, that half of that box.
Also, like we saw with the original, Silver Tower, we did see some of those units or armies. New little video. Let's go find what this is.
Oh god!
Oh, is it Bellakor?
It's Bellakor.
It's fucking the demon guy who.
Bellakor.
Both my existing Bellakor on the other shelf of production models now.
Bellakor.
I just bought this motherfucker. Shit.
I have two of them.
Oh my god, he's so swole. Show us the whole model.
It's
Show
like
us
me,
the whole. Oh, as if they did the first Prince Rises. Oh my god!
All I need to do now, all I know now is I've got to put my existing Bellakors on the fucking shelf because they're the wrong size, and I don't even get to see. I don't even get to see.
Mine is still in the box. Well, you know what we can do, Tom? We can save him and then sell them for big Eurobucks.
Can you go and return it as it's still in its box?
No, we want to save them, man. I want to sell them expensive on eBay for those.
Yeah, mine are fine casts,
stuff like that.
Yeah, I can't believe they haven't shown the model though. That's rough. Like,
I mean, from the pictures that they showed now, somebody could probably just make a snapshot. Yeah, exactly.
Someone could probably 3D design him from what we've just seen.
By tonight, Rob, there'll be a full file. That's what happened with that Sisters model, right? Where everyone was just like, "How has this happened already?"
So I mean, so also looks whether or not it's part of its own release, or maybe they'll just release Bellakor, because Bellakor, like, you could just release now, is in a battle tone, playable, already useful at the end of the day. So a new Bellakor will there be a Bellakor book 3? I mean, what's interesting about Bellakor is you got Slaves to Darkness. Bellakor was in. Then you ended up with the Wrath of the Everchosen, which Bellakor was in, with his own allegiance ability and his own subfaction. And then they're like, cool, we'll release the model later than all of that.
He's probably the most useful model in the game, right? Because he's like in AOS and he's in 40k, but he's also across multiple subfactions across both of those games.
Tied with Plague Bearers or something, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man.
So overall, hopefully that means a new Demon Dex for 40k too. Yes, that's absolutely true, Jim. That makes loads of sense. Legion of Chaos Ascendant Battle Tome. I think a new Bellakor model, obviously being used in both game systems, is a little bit of a treat, a crumb thrown out to the 40k community as well. So overall,
people weren't watching. Yes.
Yeah. So overall, overall, what do you guys think? John, I know you joined late. Scrivens, what did you think of the whole preview show?
I think it was a lot more banging, and we did actually see new stuff, which hadn't been kind of leaked beforehand, which meant it was actually quite a nice surprise to see some stuff. So, and then fleshing out the Cursed City stuff, seeing the whole thing now, I feel if they dragged that on any longer, I would have gotten quite angry. So that to me feels like that's coming soon. So maybe next month.
I think it's going to be really soon.
They don't tend to hold things back anymore. Like if they're previewing it, they then just go, right, it's coming, done. Because they did it for Kill Team. They previewed it the last one. That's on pre-order next weekend, for example.
Yeah. Ron Hubbard, thanks for donating 300 bits. Tom, did you have some favourite takeaways?
I thought most of the models in this release were really, really cool. It doesn't really matter about the ones that I didn't like, because there was just so much in here I really thought looked fucking awesome. A lot of Lumineth I really, really liked. Specifically, I think that's my favourite part of the entire release. I really want to see Bellakor and Ever. But yeah, I definitely want to buy a few of those terrain pieces of Lumineth to make some dioramas. I think it'll be really cool.
Okay. Etland, did you? Was there anything you particularly liked out of everything?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a vampire guy. Do you remember, like, when we first met at South Coast, when I had my vampire nights?
Vampires. Yeah, you did, and you had your own banners. I remember.
Yeah. It was translated in Swedish, so
I
that
know.
people would know. Tried to get it in a Games Workshop magazine. Didn't happen, but it could have happened, and it would have been hilarious. So now I'm actually going to buy some vampires when they turn up, but I'm probably going to buy this box as well. So I really like the models. I think they smashed it, man.
So I think that's one of the things that everyone is a little bit disappointed about. Maybe if there was some disappointment, obviously, is that we didn't see the Gravelords. But if anything, that's an exciting new release, because I feel like we got a lot of good stuff out there. The Warhammer Quest box looks great. It's got some really cool models in, which is amazing, and feels like a bit of a design departure from Age of Sigmar whole, which I think is interesting. Like, especially with the KO. The KO felt like, what happens if you take KO but try and like stick him in a more real world, maybe? Yeah. I felt that was kind of an interesting take. Same with the Ogre. So vibing on that. I think that's quite a cool little set of models. And then...
Do you think they are riding the hype wave from the old world thing that they're doing now?
Yeah. Well, so like that's what everyone in the chat was saying, and I think that's the most sensible kind of like statement, is that Bellakor is probably being released because probably you're getting a Bellakor sculpt in Total War Warhammer 3 because there's all the demons and stuff. So you're probably going to like, they've said that before that you're going to have a Nurgle and a Khorne campaign in Total Warhammer 3, so probably there'll be a Bellakor campaign as well. Bellakor might even be the big bad, because...
Here is in a desperate need of new rules as well, man. It's, I don't know. I think they just delayed it because of this model, probably.
Maybe. Bellacor's very viable in every...
it's very viable in every game. Fucking hell, man. Have some integrity, come on.
So there was previews from each Grand Alliance as well, which is a bit unusual. Normally, like, Destructions gets forgotten about.
What, one undead orc? Fuck you, John.
And no, we had they finished the Warband as well. So there is There's genuinely a thing for each.
Wow, so massive news just come in. Is Bellakor is confirmed as the next Broken Realms book. That's massive.
Spicy.
That is massive.
They're not just elf books, then.
Oh, that's wicked. Expect to say this, that Princely third book in the Broken Realm saga. Amazing. Brilliant. That's super exciting. That's huge. Why didn't they just say that at the end? Just say that? Like, why do I have to go to the walker? Oh, because they want the clicks so that they can prove to people that their job is worthwhile. Okay. That's really exciting. A new Bellakor model, all bay. That's some hot stuff. I think also, can we just talk about, having done this review show a little bit, that it's actually quite exciting the pace that they did it at. It was faster, 65 minutes as opposed to 2 hours. They hammered it out, right? Really positive.
It's not 40k, man. So they have a smaller budget, smaller time. So you just need to push that out. It works best for all of us.
Your elves get models, ours don't.
And I think Flag posting it as kind of like, this is going to be an Age of Sigmar reveal show probably works better, because then it keeps it consistent and it's all stuff that if you're an Age of Sigmar player, you're going to maybe care about. But if it's like waiting to see if it's your turn, can be a bit shitty to watch, I suppose.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Tell you what, though, this like at our club, like there's a lot of 40k players, and like all of them are quite hyped for this Warhammer Quest thing, because it's like the aesthetic of it is so old world.
Yeah, it just feels it sings of Mordheim to me. Like the artwork just looks like the stuff that was in the Mordheim book.
Yeah,
I love that.
I gotta say that I think ultimately, like, it's actually looking very positive for Age of Sigmar, because while it's taken a long time for them to condense a lot of those armies into books, like Cities of Sigmar or Ogre Moor Tribes is a good example, we haven't really had like a lot of product support for some of those. I know, like, old art players can complain all day, but like, but
they can play all they want, man. They can die in a ditch.
They're viable rules for their shitty old models. There we go.
Yeah, but my point is that like Matt has said in the chat, we've got some very exciting stuff. Bone Splitters, whole new models maybe. What the fuck is Sisters of Sigmar, and how are they going to play in the future? There's that wizard guy. What the fuck is that? Undead Orcs, super interesting where that might go. The Bone Splitter stuff I talked about. New Nighthaunt model, new Nighthaunt book eventually. New Bellakor model, new Bellakor book. That's massive. All the Lumineth models, Lumineth book. That's pretty rough that there's a new Lumineth book. But generally, like, that's an update and some information on loads of new models. And new Cities of Sigmar models as well, really, in the kind of, like, in some of those characters in Warhammer Quest. So
new Skaven model as well, because the Skaven chat's going absolutely nuts that they've got giant rats again.
Oh my god!
Oh, you're still in those chats, man.
I'm in 3 of them. I'm in 3 of them.
Website says all new stuff is in Broken Realms text list. But yeah, anyway, so actually, like a great nod, ultimately to like a whole bunch of new stuff for Age of Sigmar. So genuinely very exciting. Rough points. Haven't found the Gravelords yet. Rough point: if you bought a Lumineth book, you have to buy at least one more book, either the new Battle Tome or the Techless book. 9 months after you bought a limited edition one, which is pretty shitty.
Play it either.
Tell you what,
it's probably worse if you hadn't played it as well.
I mean, I think that's okay, to be honest. Like, you're always happy when you get something new to your army, right? You never complain.
It still stings though.
And it stings, man. You know, all those books will be like on PDF online, like 2 weeks after the release. I mean,
actually, probably just a week off. Let's be real.
Normally the morning after.
Yeah.
Not I've ever
but yeah, I think probably the biggest takeaway is that Bellakor book for me. That's big. Big Bellakor book, big Bellakor model. Tom, any final thoughts before we head out today?
Fountain's cool.
Huh?
It's fine. Don't worry about it. I just have a fountain.
Is that a football thing?
No, not at all. I said the fountain was cool, but okay.
Oh, the fountain. Yeah. Why are you so weirdly obsessed with the terrain piece? That confused the like everything else. You were like, I like all the models, and then the terrain piece came, and you're like, holy shit.
I don't know why. I have an emotional connection with this terrain piece, mate.
It gives me hope that they're going to do other terrain.
I felt like all Nikos's hatred of terrain pieces has slowly made its way into me, but it's been reversed. So it's like yin and yang.
Contrary to each other.
Yeah, exactly. Nikos just hates all the terrain pieces, whereas...
At least finally Lumineth have got a terrain piece. They didn't have one previously, so now they can do that.
Maybe that means you guys like the terrain pieces?
It depends.
I mean, it makes my life easier for making display boards to win mages with.
I would say that it depends on its effect in the game. I think something like the Loon Shrine feels restrictive because you get rules that you really need for your army around the Loon Shrine, which so you have to take, versus the Fane for Slaanesh, which is like, I mean, better now because you can summon from it. I kind of like it, but probably
sometimes as a Gloomspite player, though, that shrine is quite hard to fit where you want it. Like if you're gonna follow the rules.
Yeah, you're right. It's a bit of an issue.
This feels weird, man. Like, how did they not detect that there's a fucking Loon Shrine there? And instead of going and like clearing it out, they started to build their own fucking altar, and the goblins didn't find it out.
Like yards away.
Right here,
like yards away. Yeah. Like the corn lads turn up, and they're like, right, this looks like a good spot for the altar. And then across it is just a huge floating rock.
Yeah, so narrative-wise, it's weird. It's weird. And I know, like, goblins are super dependent on their Loon Shrine, but I hope in the future that there should be some sort of points cost for bringing them, man. I don't know. You don't see them every fucking time.
Yeah, I think you're right. It takes me out of the game. Some people like them, some people don't like it. The boats are obviously awful. I agree with that. And Wildwood.
They changed them, didn't they? I heard something about it.
No, they haven't changed them. It's the same. You can take two big boats.
Okay, so there's like a comma taken somewhere that it shouldn't be, so you can take two boats, or what is it?
Yeah, you can just take two boats, which is the
okay. So I heard you just can take the one boat, but you can split it into two boats and two halves. Fucking Luke, man, he's gonna fucking shit all over me again, like with his fucking putting in my deployment zone. It's so fucking terrible when they just put their boats in your deployment zone.
They are, and hopefully they stop it from happening.
It's like the Tau version of Age of Sigmar, man, when they do that. I think the next time he does that, I'm just gonna walk over the table and just punch him in the solar plexus. Win by default, man. Right.
Okay. So, fun day. I've enjoyed it. Thanks to John, and Tom for joining us. So at 4:30 today, so in an hour and a half, we have been doing live coverage of a single elimination Age of Sigmar event on TTS, and we've got the final. We are all rooting for Orkman. If you guys haven't caught up with this, Orkman
is winning, by the way.
Orkman is still slugging it out against his second Seraphon player he needs to beat to get into the final. However, we do know that the final, whoever he beats, if he does win, it will be against Lumineth Realm-lords. So Matt Goddesborough having got through into the final. So it's going to be Lumineth versus either Orkman or Seraphon. That'll be at 4:30, which will be super fun. Me and the Warhammer Freedom Fighter, Adam Mumford, are going to be doing the commentary, so it's going to be fun. So look forward to that. The Sharks lost, though. So 10 Sharks did lose to Techless, taking him down to 1 wound before he left.
Oh. Can I join on the game, man?
You can 100% watch the game, yeah. Loads.
Because I need to get back in the judge game and call foul and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll do that. But if you guys have enjoyed listening to this, we're live every day at midday. Monday nights we obviously do Age of Sigmar, and Thursday nights we do 40k. So please do tune in. Thanks to my co-hosts for tuning in. Bring us 4:30, so an hour and a half. No, an hour's time we'll be back doing commentary of a game. Thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys soon. Have a nice day.